Hello there, Wrestle Talk viewers. It's time for Aces and Eights to take over Wrestle Talk Extra and the Wrestle Talk podcast here on YouTube, because we are going to go through the Aces and Eights storyline that TNA fans sort of love, but also sort of hate.
It's kind of that Nexus Rise and horrible fool of a faction.
Yeah, I would say so, because we're going to do the episode here, Bound for Glory 2012. Spoilers, at the next pay-per-view, they lose one of the matches. So, they'll be beaten up a lot, they'll be run off, but at times they'll be seen as this really intimidating threat to TNA.
Oh, they'll tell us they're an intimidating threat, but with the actual actions and results, maybe not so much.
Well, here's where I think they are a threat. They are a threat to everyone apart from Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Because if Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle are involved, rubbish. Absolutely nowhere near them. But if it's Samoa Joe, the world champion Austin Aries, James Storm, they can easily beat those lads up.
But not Hogan, who needs a specially designed ramp to get to the ring.
Yes, yeah. We talked about this with James Storm when we had him on the podcast.
Yeah, it's the one time a year where Luke and I get to talk extensively about TNA. Yes, you think it might happen in all the other Wrestle Talk podcast series, but this is actually properly themed, front and center TNA. Is this going to become an annual tradition now?
Oh, yeah.
Autumn and winter.
Yeah, we've done it 2 years in a row now, so I guess it is now annual tradition.
Yeah. It's not a Great Balls of Fire. It's not a WWE Day One. This is now an actual, fatal four-way at All In. That's how in tradition this is.
Yeah, so for the next 4 months, we're going to be talking about Aces and Eights. This episode here is available on YouTube. If you head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now, you can see the next episode of this series, which is Final Resolution 2012, which features Team TNA versus Aces and Eights, as well as other stuff as well. And then the rest of the series will be at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, with the exception of the final episode, which is where Aces and Eights have to disband.
Yeah, so if you want to find out, spoiler, what happens in the next chapter of Aces and Eights after Devon Dudley has unveiled himself as the first member.
Yeah, but not the leader.
Devon Dudley, everybody.
Yeah.
It's so shocking. The rest of the baby faces freeze. And Aces and Eights can just walk away.
He was gone from the company at this point. Mm-hmm. So it really was a case of whoa, what a shocking reveal.
Bully Ray, I get. Hulk Hogan standing there when he actually just looks like he's spasmed his back and he can't move anymore.
Yeah. I particularly enjoyed it, and we'll get to it. When he does hobble down to the ring and each one of the Aces and Eights, baddies in Austin Powers, run at him one at a time.
Yeah, well, that's the genius of the Hulk Hogan walkway. It's too narrow. You can only have one at a time attacks.
But
good show, though.
A really good show.
I actually really enjoyed this show.
Me too, because we'll now do our usual where were you at the time. I'm not doing TNA at this point. I have dropped off from TNA. And I was thinking about this the other night. I think I dropped off from watching not all of wrestling, but this is in that period of time where I was only watching wrestling through, I'd watch the Rumble and I'd watch Mania and then I'd watch kind of nothing else. But I'd keep up to date with it through the Wrestling Observer, radio and newsletter. And then I was reading through the newsletter and I realized, oh no, I did buy Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see how they were going to book themselves out of the corner that they put themselves in.
This is the CM Punk Ryback match where that evil Brad Maddox was the heel referee.
Yeah. And then obviously I buy the Rumble because that's when Rock beats Punk for the title, and WrestleMania and beyond. But
it's weird, isn't it, how in both our collective memories we both thought we quit watching WWE. You at that point, me after the Nexus at SummerSlam. But when we've gone back and reviewed those eras, we're like, oh no, we did still watch most weeks and all the pay-per-views.
Things I wasn't. I did not watch all of the pay-per-views. I bought Hell in a Cell because I just wanted to see what they were going to do, because me and my mates were like, well, Punk's not going to lose the title. He's going to lose it to Rock at the Royal Rumble. So they're not going to pin Ryback.
It's a cage match.
It's a Hell in a Cell match.
Oh yeah.
So what are they going to do? And so we bought that pay-per-view to see what they were going to do to get themselves out of the situation they'd put themselves in. Almost 2019 Hell in a Cell with The Fiend. You want to watch that because, well, how are you going to get out of this mess you booked yourself into? So yes, we bought that one, but I wasn't watching week-to-week TV. But with TNA, I was really like off. Like post 2010, like the Immortal run, Jeff Hardy and the incident at Victory Road
2011, yeah.
I was just done. Like TNA, it wasn't my TNA anymore. It didn't feel like the TNA that I'd fallen in love with in the mid-aughts. So yeah, I just dropped out of it. So it's actually, I don't think I've actually ever seen this show.
Really?
Unlike a lot of WWE shows that I've gone back and watched via the network, there's a bunch of TNA shows in this era that I just have never seen. So I've never seen this show.
This is the sort of prime Dixie Carter era, where Dixie Carter was becoming more of an on-screen presence. She's a babyface at this time, but in the next couple of years, yeah, she will become the chief heel of the company.
Yeah, she is remarkably on this show quite a bit.
Yeah, she gets... weirdly, one talking head segment no one else does in the James Storm Bobby Roode video
weird.
Package.
She's the headlining act at the Hall of Fame induction for Sting.
Just to remind Sting that, yes, you will sign for another year. And yeah, she has the opening voiceover of the pay-per-view, or PLE, as they're called these days. In TNA they are.
And yeah, which is weird because they're still pay-per-views.
Yeah, but they just want to be liked by WWE so much. Okay, but where were you? That was you as a wrestling fan. So what wrestling were you watching?
Nothing. Like not on a week-to-week basis. I was
About a couple of indie shows, bit of Ring of Honor.
No, not really. Ring of Honor was hard to get hold of, really, unless you were like, torrenting it and things like that, which was, certainly a possible thing to do. But honestly, I was keeping up with wrestling via podcasts. And in a pre-podcast world, podcasts are a thing, but it's not like podcasts are now.
Yeah.
It was Wrestling Observer Radio, reading the newsletter, Brian and Vinny. That is how I consumed wrestling. I was just keeping up to date with it. And me and my friends talked about sort of like thoughts on booking and stuff, and I would see clips here and there of Raw if there was something interesting going on. But that was pretty much the extent of it.
The main talking point that surely you would have heard of at the time is Bully Ray's the best heel and now babyface in wrestling.
Yeah, it was like a miraculous turnaround for Bully Ray. So oddly enough, well, this is still available on Challenge. It's still available for me to watch for free. But it's not really that I'm against wrestling or I'm against TNA or I'm against WWE. I am in a bad relationship.
Yeah. But isn't that usually where we find escapism in professional wrestling?
No, because I had to spend as much time with her as I possibly could. Otherwise,
that is a terrible relationship.
Because otherwise she would get really upset that I wasn't spending time with her, and she could not stand wrestling, which means that if we were together, I was not allowed to watch it. Even though it was available for free. Like, I really wanted to watch all the Joseph Park stuff because I'd heard that was really good. But she was just so dead against wrestling. And so, yeah, the only real times I got to go and watch wrestling is if, I'd arranged to go to a friend's house to watch a pay-per-view with him. So, yeah, bad relationship. And I was in it for 5 years.
Oh, yeah. When did it get bad?
Pretty much actually, at this point, I am towards the end of it because we break up.
Is this your university relationship?
No, that was a different bad relationship. But actually, that was a totally fine relationship. We just were just bad for each other. And then she left me for World of Warcraft. So, true story. This was just a bad relationship where she was just not a nice person, and I didn't realize I was unhappy for a number of years, and I now look back and realize, I lost a lot of my 20s just hanging around with her all the time on a Friday night.
You could have been shagging all of London, just going around and shagging people.
I could have been going to the walkabout in Reading Town Centre, and I wasn't with my work friend, because my work friends would go for drinks afterwards and say, "Are you coming?" And I'd say like, "Oh no, I can't because I've got to go." My girlfriend still lives with her parents, and she always has dinner with her parents on a Friday night, so I've got to go and have dinner with them as well.
Oh, that is bleak.
Yeah.
That's prime liver damage time. Well, you can drink as much. This is pure medical advice. You can drink as much in your 20s, and it doesn't affect your liver. Yeah, they've proved that.
That's right.
They haven't. I do have to legally say they haven't proved that. I'm not a doctor.
But I break up with her the following year. So while we are in the latter part of this storyline with the downfall of Aces and Eights, I am then out of that relationship.
How close does the breakup of Aces and Eights happen to your own disbanding of the relationship?
I think it's post. It's 2013. Pretty sure it's 2013 that we do eventually break up. Pretty sure it's 2013. Oh no, it is 2013.
The use of eventually there sounds like there was maybe a let's go on a break. Let's have a few back and forth.
I did try at one point. I did try.
So it was like quite a long, months-long breakup process.
Oh no! It was like I did try, and it lasted for like a couple of weeks, and then I was sort of like pressured to go back in.
Oh.
So yeah, but that that's in the past now. It's in the past.
Well,
and the following year, I will start to hang out with the woman that would become my wife. We were friends prior. So I think
which is a worse relationship.
I mean, being friends with her was something that my then girlfriend was not a fan of. That I was friends with another woman.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, again, that is you aren't allowed to have friends of the opposite sex.
No.
And me and my partner stick by that today.
To this day.
So I only hang out with dudes.
It's just me. It's just me, Kedem and Dan. These are the people that you hang out with.
Wait a sec. So we knew each other by this point.
Yeah, you and I were writing each other. You and I were doing podcasts together. We were doing a film podcast together every now and again.
Wow.
Not on the reg. You were quite difficult to pin down to be on episodes.
Well, I was shagging my way around. Oh, at least trying to.
Yeah. But you and I have done podcasts together by this point. Because I think the first film you and I reviewed together was Seven Psychopaths.
Oh, really? The Martin McDonagh movie?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first one we did together.
It's a decent film.
Yeah, sure.
It's not as good as I wanted it to be, I think, considering the cast.
Yeah.
I reviewed that. Wow.
Yeah, on a podcast together. I've told this on a podcast before, but it was the first time you and I done it. So I said, do you want to be Ollie or Oliver? This is what we're recording. And you said, you can call me O-Dog. So I did.
Okay, but what work-wise?
Work-wise, I am still at Yellow Pages, I think, at this point. Or I gone to...
Oh, you are in the process of transforming the way Yellow Pages do small business outreach.
I'm not at this point. I'm actually... in fact, I know exactly where I am. I'm at... I'm working for a golf holiday provider.
Oh.
I was there for a couple of years or so.
This is bad timeline, Luke.
I didn't mind that job. That job was fine. I probably it wasn't as fun as the Yellow Pages because I didn't have as many friends as I had there. But it was no.
I thought you had all the high pressure conferences.
That was the job that came after. That was the job that I left golf breaks for. Was to go and work for an app development company for live events, and that was the one that was high pressured. That was the one that sent me out to Dubai with a new piece of tech that they had developed to go out for a conference. And they told me just before I left, but I was like, "Oh, we don't know for sure, but there's every chance that this stuff could really interfere with the airplane, like with the signals and stuff. But it should be fine."
And it should. We're 98% sure it's fine.
And then. Literally, as I was walking through the doors of the airport, got a call being like, "Actually, it's probably best just take the batteries out, just in case. It'll probably be fine, but just in case, I'd take the batteries out."
Yeah.
So then I went into a toilet in the airport to remove the batteries from all of these little devices.
You're effectively a drug mule.
It did
for a startup.
It did feel like I was in a movie like that, and the whole time I was panicking, being like, "I'm supposed to be flying to Ghent in a couple of weeks."
Get confused. Think, should I just put the batteries in my ass? Just to make double sure no electricity gets to these transmitters.
I'm sure that will also be fine.
And it'll make me feel better.
Yeah, and then my flight was delayed by about 5 hours, and I flew overnight, and I didn't sleep a wink because I was so worried about the plane crashing, basically, because I was flying with stuff that I was told could be bad for planes. Where were you?
Where was I? Well, I was in the business.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is around the time where I start getting into Wrestle Talk. So Wrestle Talk was a TV show. It was on Challenge, as you've already set up. That was a sort of free-to-air TV channel in the UK. I guess an equivalent in the States would be saying it's on network. But it's not like a big channel on network, but it is free for everyone. Everyone gets it if they've got a thing called Freeview. And yeah, it was Challenge. It was just old game shows. And then weirdly, on Sunday nights, TNA Wrestling.
Yeah, like 4 days after it aired in America.
Yeah. And then the pay-per-views would be on the Wednesday nights, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Impact was Sunday night. And you'd say, like, that sounds crazy now, doesn't it? That there's such a long delay.
If you're ever wondering, if you've watched like TNA pay-per-views on YouTube, which like we did for this one, and if you like it often dips down to black, then dips back up, that's because of places like Challenge, because that's where ad breaks go.
Yeah. They've, even on their own streaming platform, it appears as though TNA have lost the original masters of their pay-per-views because the ad breaks are hard-coded in.
I thought we had them.
I did.
Because I'm pretty sure you and I found in a cupboard in the old place a bunch of TNA tapes.
Well, so what happened is WrestleTalk was it was put on YouTube. This was before my time. Put on YouTube as a TV show with the idea of getting Sky to pick it up to go after TNA Impact. So it's like a wrestling chat show. And it was doing such good numbers for what was essentially a phone-it-in channel. Phone it in, not like... It's not music television in the early noughties where you vote for what comes next.
Yeah.
It was just chuck a load of old stuff on there. But it got really successful because people just love watching quiz shows and game shows. So the idea was to get on that channel, and I think it ran for 6 months. That's where the famous Bret Hart 4 out of 10 interview comes from. Interviews with Hulk Hogan, where Hulk Hogan, I think Dave Bradshaw did this interview, and Dave asked Hogan what he thought of Bret's book, which I think had just come out.
Right.
And Hogan told Dave straight to his face, "Oh, I've not read it." And Dave knew that Hogan wrote the introduction or like some endorsement thing where he, usually people write those and they don't read the thing, but it references multiple things in the book. So Dave was just like, okay. But then that got on Challenge, like they picked it up. So it was this thing that went after TNA every Sunday. And I loved wrestling. I was watching WWE. I was watching TNA, but I was mostly watching Ring of Honor and British Indies. So Progress, Rev Pro, anything I could that sort of popped up and I could afford to go to chiefly. So I was working in TV and I thought, well, I'll start just showing up at these Wrestle Talk tapings because I knew someone, my now partner's best mate worked on Wrestle Talk.
Right, okay.
So I got in that way. Kevin and Dan actually lived with that guy as well. So I had 2 ins. So I just started showing up and very quickly it came out that I was one of the more experienced people in broadcast and stuff.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was mostly from the wrestling industry. So that just... I never said that to anyone, but it just sort of, I guess, became apparent. And I eventually was... pretty quickly directing and formatting the episodes and coming up with the talking points and what we should talk about. So that made me have to start watching Impact.
Right.
If anything, I was watching WWE more than TNA at this period, but exactly the same reason as you. That 2010 experience going from the hardest of die-hard TNA stan, proper tribalistic, we're coming for you, WWE, everything WWE does is rubbish, to by the end of 2010, just barely keeping up with it.
Yeah.
And it was never a big thing of me switching off. It was just a slow,
gradual,
miss this one. And I think that's, wrestling fandoms don't die with a bang. They die with a whimper.
Yeah.
To quote T.S. Eliot on this wrestling podcast.
To quote TNA.
To quote, the greater the difficulty, the greater the glory. Everyone says that.
It's a famous quote.
It's the opening line of this pay-per-view. So yeah, I probably at the start of this year, because I remember the Bully Ray heel turn, because I was having to watch it, and then this Aces and Eights thing. Yeah, this was the first time in my life where I wasn't watching wrestling as a fan. I was watching wrestling. You wouldn't call it this back then. You would now call it a content creator. But back then it was sort of more TV producer. I was watching stuff with what can I talk about on next week's show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good talking point. And it really does warp the way you watch wrestling. It is so much nicer. I know, like, we do have our dream job, but if you are at home thinking, oh man, my dream job would be to watch wrestling as a living and review it, or review movies, as soon as you start doing it, you can, in sort of this cruel trade-off, you can never enjoy those things the same way you once did with more innocent eyes.
Yeah, wrestling, I would say, movies is slightly different, because I still watch movies the same way I've always watched movies.
But that's because you don't have to review them.
But yeah, but even when we do like cutscene and stuff, like I would watch the movies and I would have the same thoughts. And like, I think I've said this before, like even when I was watching wrestling before I had this job, the conversation that you and I have on this podcast are just the conversation I was having with my friends anyway. So for me, it's like, I watch wrestling the same way. It's just now I'm taking notes.
I disagree because, like, sure, if there's a nothing episode of Raw, we would just say, oh, there's a nothing episode of Raw if we didn't do this job. But now we're like, oh, we've got to find something.
Yeah, I suppose if you're finding,
we've got to talk about something.
If you're finding a podcast headline for a YouTube video, then yes, I suppose that I do have to think about Raw slightly differently.
Yeah. But that's the way it is. Like, but it does mean that this is sort of a pivotal era in my wrestling fandom, because I'm no longer just a fan. I'm not in the wrestling business, like I wouldn't work on any indie shows for a couple of years, I think, when I drove Zack Sabre Jr. in a car for 12 hours combined, and he became my best friend. But I'm now in the business of wrestling.
Yeah. So I did watch, I was saying I wasn't watching week to week. Every now and again I did see bits of Impact, mostly because I would then watch Wrestle Talk afterwards. I watched Wrestle Talk on a near weekly basis if I was at home on a Sunday night.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with it, by the way, it's just like a chat show. I think it was an hour long back then, but it went down to half hour a couple of years later. Just talking segment, couple of interviews, talking segment on a couch.
Yeah.
Joel Ross was the host, and then you had a revolving panel of people, Francesca Wood usually, who's still great. I love her to this day. But yes, we would be sent TNA, B-Tech, which are the sort of big videos, broadcast videos that if this is before the days of digital delivery and internet was good enough, to the Dagenham studio, because we would use those to get clips. We would digitize those. We had a digitizing machine.
I know.
The Wrestle Talk show was filmed on mini DV cassette things.
It was.
We would digitize that. God, the amount of work this stuff used to be.
And it's not that long ago either. Like,
no, not long enough.
Not long enough. Like, it's, 13 years ago? But you're talking, like, the way that in the 1980s, we were like, man, they used to do things on film reels and stuff before the digital revolution of, like, the 2000s.
Well, I think technology doesn't do anything for ages, and then it really increases. Like, for, 100 years, people edited film by snipping film.
Yeah.
And then in the 96, you get the first Avids, and it's like, oh, we can digitize this now. We can digitally edit stuff, and then within a 20-year stretch, it becomes fully digital.
When I was doing my Games Master podcast, the first series of Games Master, the first challenge is on Super Mario Brothers 3. So it's like 92. They were playing Super Mario Brothers 3. The final challenge is Tekken 3. In the arcades, like that was in 1998. So in a leap of like 7 years, you went from Mario Brothers 3 on the NES to Tekken 3 on the PlayStation. It's this huge. You look at now the difference between a PS4 and a PS5. It's basically the same thing. Like there's not as much, but there was a period of time where you were making these huge technological jumps. And yeah, what you're talking about there is this huge technological jump between old way of making TV, and we used to record the old Wrestle Talk news back in the day onto SD cards. Now, even that saying that feels like old technology, and it was only like 5 years ago we were doing that before we started doing them onto like proper hard drives and filming them in much higher quality. Yeah,
try find a laptop with an SD card slot now.
Yeah,
but yeah, same with mobile phone design. You've got the 90s, early noughties. Crazy. Everyone's trying to figure out, what is a phone? What is the best shape of a phone? Should it flip open?
Oh, yeah.
Should it slide open? Should it maybe not open at all?
That was my preferred option. I didn't want one that flipped open.
I love the flip. The Motorola Razr.
You were one of those. I was a Nokia kid.
And then because in the Matrix, it's like,
yeah.
And the LG chocolate.
Yes, yeah.
which sort of slid open to reveal the keypad underneath. And to this day, I miss keypads.
Well,
I still don't care for touchpad typing.
I completely agree. I think I do way more misspelling of things with touch typing than I did when I was at a keypad to hand.
I remember planting my flag firmly in the BlackBerry side.
My wife was as well. My wife was a BlackBerry user.
No way is anything going to beat the instant messenger thing and this actual keypad.
Yeah, making those horrific.
Yeah. And then my mate was like, I got an iPhone, the first iPhone, and I've got all the songs on there. I was like, but I've got an iPod. I don't need that as well.
My wife and I, every now and again, it's me more than her, I feel, but there are times when we're watching The Sopranos and we'll like get like really nostalgic for something a bit silly. Usually it's seeing AJ wearing 3/4 length shorts, and I'm just like, oh man, or he's wearing like a Biohazard t-shirt. He's got a kiddie poster up on the wall, and I'm like, oh yeah, what a cool kid, even though he is objectively the worst character in the show. But my wife had one recently when Tony Soprano's phone rang, and it was a MIDI like ringtone thing. She went, oh, I got
polyphonic ringtones are the next step.
She was like, I remember like my Nokia when I had the 3210, and you would go onto the internet, and there would be websites where you could find how to create your own theme songs, because you could, kids, this is fascinating. You could press like, if you'd press like 5353, it would create notes, but if you like held onto them, it might make it a minor or a major key. So there were websites dedicated to like, if you just put in this sequence of numbers, you will create the Imperial March for Star Wars.
I was going to say the Imperial March from Star Wars.
Oh, it was amazing.
And
if you got one of those keystrokes wrong, though, oh no.
Start again. You could also buy ringtones.
Yeah.
That was huge business.
Buy ringtones now, $4.99.
These were on every music television channel, on the back of every PC Gamer magazine.
The hottest tunes for you. Just call 0800 303030 99p songs.
That's where Crazy Frog came from. Anyway, we've sort of gone on a tangent, off a tangent. My point was,
I was watching TNA.
Before then, we've done that Inception thing where we forgot how deep in the tangent we are.
Dreidel?
We need a totem. Yes, okay, the phone. All phones look like this now. It is just a slab, and they have done since 2006, and nothing's progressed. And that's what we will get to with sort of cameras and stuff as well. Yeah. But yes, I think we were saying they would deliver the big B-Tech. Yeah, that's what we were saying.
That's what I was saying. So we think that we had, at least I'm pretty sure that we had, the original masters of a lot of these TNA shows.
Yes, because I also did work in broadcast ingest TV. They would send you those raw, like not the raw file, but essentially a copy of the master file. You would import that into the system by literally playing it, a tape, and it would record onto the system, digitized, and then you would part it. And there were two ways. There was soft parting, which is what TNA appeared to have done, where you just put dips in, and then you could schedule that as one piece of media in the TV broadcast playlist, like a TV channel from about 2005 onwards, looked like an iTunes playlist.
Yeah. Radio was
different media events.
Radio was very similar.
And everything down to the bumper, the sponsor bumper, they were all different. But if you had something like this, it would just be the same media file, but it would reference different time codes. Or you could hard part it, which meant you were literally taking chunks off of this and putting them as, TNA Bound for Glory 01, TNA Bound for Glory 02. But this seems to be TNA Bound for Glory, and you put in the time code, and then it seems like TNA have recorded it off of a TV broadcast.
Yeah.
Or had one of those, or just had a load of hard parts and put them together, which is why you get the dips.
Yeah. I don't know, a lot of the people that work at TNA, but just based on stories I've heard from people that work at TNA, it comes as little surprise that they don't have the original broadcast masters anymore. Someone probably has them somewhere, and they just don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah, not even like a big name like a Billy Corgan.
No.
It is just some guy.
Dave.
It's Dave. Dave he used to work with us.
They're just in his garage.
He took all the hard drives. He was going to digitize them, but then we didn't pay him for a while. And now it's just gotten too weird. Yeah. And we found the ones with the little dips. No one's complaining about
They're
it.
They're absolutely fine.
It's only Luke and Ollie who keep bringing this up.
There's a story of the real Ghostbusters. The original pitch that they did, I think TMS might have animated it, where they're actually drawn to look like the movie counterparts, and they're wearing the movie style flight suits. They basically it would become what is the intro for the real Ghostbusters. That was unearthed in someone's garage when they were just doing a garage sale. Just so they just found a box that just had some real Ghostbusters stuff in it. Picked up one of these tapes, put it in, and was like, "What is this?" And it was this magical thing. So then they had to go through the process of upscaling it and stuff, and it became part of the Time Life DVD release. But this is there'll be some day when someone will do a garage sale and they'll find a bunch of these TNA masters and be like, "I've got them! I found them!"
Dark matches and everything.
Oh man, can you imagine? That'd be a treasure trove in there. So that's where we're currently at watching wrestling. But you are mostly on a Ring of Honor kid at this point. But you also doing
Ring of Honor. I'm watching, but I don't have to watch Ring of Honor for my. Wrestle Talk was also my side hustle. It wasn't my full-time gig. It wouldn't be for another 4 years when I essentially took a punt and made it my full-time gig because the money wasn't there to do that. But I was working, I think I was finishing up my stuff at 4 Music. And when I say finishing up, I mean they didn't want me anymore.
Yeah.
They were like, you should go freelance, because I was employed as a sort of technical guy. Like, you should go freelance because you're creative and we don't have any employed producers. So it's just how the industry works. Like, okay, cool, that sounds good. I want to get more creative. And then I guess it was a year later, they were like, yeah, we're downsizing and the freelancers are the first thing to go. Because there's this thing called YouTube and we think it's a threat and we have no ideas. We've tried nothing
and
we're all out of ideas. Well, actually, no, that's a lie because they did try and I'm pretty sure they thought, well, let's launch our own YouTube.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
It was Box TV Plus or something.
Nice.
I just kept on thinking, what? But people would just put it on YouTube. Why would record companies put their music videos on your streaming platform for free?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, surprise, surprise. All of the music television channels no longer exist.
Sad times. I have got some stuff from the Observer, and let me tell you, it's a busy old Observer this week. There's a lot for us to dive into.
So that's October 2012.
October 2012.
Shield haven't debuted yet.
No, I might have to skip over a few things that are in here, and I won't read all of the stuff we've got here. But there's 2 pretty big stories. One of which actually we kind of sort of alluded to earlier, which is Ryan Reeves, 30, who's been in the big monster push as Ryback, becomes the second member of the 2004 cast of Tough Enough to headline a major pay-per-view as a singles wrestler. As the explosive musclehead, something of a Bill Goldberg clone, Ryback faces CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE title in Atlanta, the same city where Goldberg defeated Hulk Hogan in 1998 to win the WCW title. This was not something long planned out. Punk versus John Cena was scheduled to headline the show. However, the damage to Cena's right elbow was more extensive than expected and required a more invasive surgery than was originally expected.
Sorry, can I just jump in? Is that the giant ball that's on his elbow, that picture?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Cena's arm is still in bad shape and was really unable to be used or moved. It was clear that 3 weeks could be pushing it. The show ended with Vince McMahon announcing that Punk would get to choose his opponent, but it would have to be Cena or Ryback. The plan was for it to still be Cena, but Ryback was put in a promoted backup position because they recognized Cena was far from 100% certain to be ready. The decision was made in the afternoon based on Cena getting an examination that day. Cena's right arm had improved significantly over the prior 7 days, but the doctors could not assure WWE officials that Cena would be ready. The feeling was they needed 2 weeks of promotion for the main event, and because they couldn't get anything more than he's iffy to be ready by that date, the decision was made to go with Ryback. Over the weekend, 2 different scripts were written for Raw, one building things up to end with Cena getting the shot, and the other with Ryback.
I was really into that storyline at the time. I was hugely into CM Punk. This is obviously post heel turn with the Raw 1000 episode the previous year.
Yes, 2012.
No, so Cena Rock 1 happened
it's
this
2012,
April.
the Raw 1000. Yeah.
But Punk was a heel at this point.
No, Punk turns heel at Raw 1000.
Oh, and then that's during the time of Ryback's squash matches. He's getting over.
Which happens post Raw 1000, yeah.
Feels unstoppable. But, at that time, you never thought he'd actually get pushed to anything.
Because we've seen a bunch of these big dudes get squash matches for 3 weeks in a row and then nothing ever comes of it.
Most likely, he'll go against Cena at Mania and he'll lose.
Yeah.
That's what Ryback's destined for. But because they had to change plans and he steps into that Punk slot, I remember it was a huge, exciting thing at the time.
It was massive.
Because we thought, maybe he will win. He's not ready, but God, it's different. It's new.
Yeah.
He's potentially a new guy.
Meltzer's talking about this in The Observer. He's like, look, the plan is for Rock to beat Punk at Royal Rumble, or at least for Rock to win the title at Royal Rumble, so you can do the switch back. But there is every chance that you could do Ryback winning the title at Hell in a Cell and then Punk winning it back later. I always argued, I remember writing for a website at this point saying, I don't think Punk is going to lose the belt because Rock beating him after 400 odd days is much more of an impressive thing than Rock beating him after 30 days having held the title.
Yeah, and you needed to make Rock look strong.
Well, exactly, because he's going to put over Cena at Mania. So you need to make Rock look strong because that will make Cena look strong.
But Rock had already beaten Cena the previous year. He could beat Punk and win the title. Why does he have to beat Punk with the really long reign?
And because he had to end the 400 odd days of misery, or whatever he said at the Royal Rumble 2013. You can go into the archives and watch our review of it there.
Yeah, I really do think, at the time, and I was a Punk guy, I really thought it was 50-50. I saw the argument to keep the belt on Punk, but who knows what would have happened if you put the belt on Ryback for 2 months. I think it would have blown up in WWE's faces because Ryback seemed to turn out to be quite a difficult person to work with, and I think that would have just exasperated that, but they could have had another main eventer.
It's also really funny as well because a lot of what Meltzer talking about, and actually what we were talking about at the time, is that, well, it's Hell in a Cell. You can't do an F finish inside Hell in a Cell. Little did we know. 2018 is just around the corner.
They keep finding ways.
But this is actually from the previous week's Raw, because a lot of what's happening here is also a response to what happened the previous week, where after a week where Raw had its lowest rating since 1997, Impact had its lowest rating in years for a Thursday show, and Ultimate Fighter had the lowest rating in its history, each company had different reactions. Dana White has hinted at major business changes, saying they would start to become evident soon. TNA has said nothing and made no reaction. WWE, on the other hand, reacted big. They brought back John Cena to television when he wasn't healthy and building the show around Vince McMahon versus CM Punk having a brawl. The 3-hour Raw was the best in weeks. The ratings rose from a 2.8 to a 2.54 from the prior week. In the panic of last week's rating, because...
do you mean a 2.08?
No, 2.8. So as in
it rose from a 2.8.
It rose to a 2.8.
Oh, sorry. Right.
In a panic of last week's rating, because the decision was made to bring back both made late in the week, they had no television promotion for either Raw or SmackDown building it, and thus the value of them coming back was limited. If they had instead built this week's show around them coming back next week, while this likely would have taken a hit on the chin, both the number of men's returns would have been larger, but the real reaction was not on television. Brian Gewirtz, who was the head writer on Raw for nearly a decade, although his job has changed in recent months, was a victim of the rating. On the 5th of October, he was removed from creative. He is still within the company as a consultant. He's being kept around because he has been a contract and also because he's Dwayne John's writer. Yeah. He will not be working out of Stamford, but will be giving feedback from home, which a lot of different wrestling industries veterans have done in the past. It was openly talked about that his tenure in the company may not be for much longer, as if Johnson doesn't continue to have involvement after his contract expires, the feeling is he'll be out the door.
I feel like he's with them till 2015, though.
Gewirtz of late had lost power to newcomer Eric Pankowski, who had been hired in February to be the Senior Vice President of Creative and Development. Pankowski did some things in Hollywood, including working as an executive at Warner Brothers. By April, Vince loved the guy and his influence had grown. Pankowski had been the head of creative as of late. He'd been described to me as a bright guy with good people skills, as opposed to Gewirtz, whose people skills were described as abysmal. Several sources have said that Gewitz was not happy about losing his stroke with Vince to Pankowski as of late. The fact he ended up being the guy removed from the writing team to shake everyone up and send the message of the 2.5 level is not acceptable speaks volumes as to how far his star has fallen in a brief period of time. Gewitz himself was telling friends that the decision was mutual, although several close to the situation specifically stated it was Vince's public move to shake everyone up and know that low ratings will not be tolerated. Dave Kapoor, Rajan Singh, is the point man at television on Monday, while Ed Koskey serves the same role on Tuesdays, although both Kapoor and Koskey were there on Monday and Tuesday. There is talk that both of their situations will change. Those positions don't carry as much power as people think. It's really Vince McMahon and the louder voices on the committee, such as Gewitz in the past and Michael Hayes, along with Stephanie McMahon, have the most influence. At a production meeting before Raw in Sacramento, Vince said, quote, "I want results or I want resignations." He noted this meant for everyone, including himself.
Yeah, a classic, like, hard-talking Vince line, one that really doesn't, like, he would never get rid of himself.
Yeah.
Because he should have. He should have multiple times and made way for someone new, and he didn't.
Well, there's a reason for that. Is because the ratings are down. He's got to come back to television and be a featured character again and have a brawl with CM Punk at the age of, let me just double check here, 67. Where they were like, he didn't look great.
Yeah, he already was looking like he shrunk in the wash at this point.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is also from the previous week, but I've got an update from this week's Observer. At press time, WWE has taken no action against CM Punk for striking a fan twice while he was in the stands near the end of the Raw show in Power Balance Pavilion in Sacramento.
I think I remember that story.
A few seconds of the incident, including both strikes, a reactionary back fist type of blow, and then a more significant straightforward lunging punch, were visible in the background of the end of the show when Vince McMahon was doing his interview. A tape in better context shot by a fan showed Punk in the stand with some fans kind of patting him on the back like they were getting him to connect with a star. Others were shoving him and taking pot shots at him while he tried to ignore them. The first back fist-like blow was more a reaction to being hit, and then he turned around and went after the guy, thinking he was the guy who nailed him with a punch to the back of the head. The fan may have been shoved into Punk. He was at an angle where Punk was nailed from, but he was not the fan who had attacked him in any way. The fan filed charges with police, claiming that when Punk attacked him, he broke his glasses and also that his knees were hurt during the incident. A fan named Dario Tejas bragged on Twitter that he was the one who caused the incident, writing, quote, "I'm the one that was fucking with him, LMAO. Then he rocked an innocent fan." He also wrote, quote, "I punched him in his kidney and he slapped his back hella hard." He also wrote, quote, "He straight pounced on the poor white guy. I hit him, ran away, and then ran back and stood next to him because I saw the camera." He also made comments about the poor fat guy who Cena struck isn't going to be poor no more, figuring WWE will sell to avoid bad publicity. It was covered as a major news story in Sacramento. And it was the number 2 news story going into the news behind a fire in Los Angeles. The head of security at the Power Balance Pavilion said that they were never noticed that Punk was going into the stands. He said that if they had been, the incident could have been avoided. They basically made WWE look bad because of a lack of communication. They interviewed Tejas, who completely changed his story.
This is the Twitter guy?
Yeah. He said he never touched Punk and that his Twitter had been hacked and he never made those tweets.
Yeah, it's 2012. Of course the Twitter was hacked.
It was hacked by Kurt Angle.
It's an epidemic.
He also said that since he made the tweet, he's gotten death threats by Twitter, and someone told him he'd better never see him in town again. The arena wasn't happy with the incident and the lack of communication with WWE as well as the coverage. Punk later gave his version of what happened, saying, quote, "Somebody said, let's push him down the stairs. I got hit in the rib 3 times. I was getting shoved and I was getting punched. Then I started getting tagged in the back of the head. Unfortunately, I lashed out in the heat of the moment and I apologize. I'm really just glad nobody was hurt." A lot of people question why no disciplinary action was taken against Punk, noting wrestlers who have hit fans in the past have gotten into a lot of trouble. But the reality is, with Cena out of action, Punk has been carrying the television and is the biggest star on the Raw brand house shows, and they simply can't afford to have him gone right now.
I also think, just from what I remember of that incident, you can sympathize with Punk. A lot of the other punishments of wrestlers punching fans seem a bit more premeditated, like, oh, I get hit, I come back later on and get my receipt. But this was Punk, understandably, I think, lashing out. Yeah. As he said, it was a mistake, but, he was getting punched. And if that, if you go by the hacker, He was trying to punch him in the kidneys.
Yeah, he was trying to...
That's assault.
He was trying to goad him into attacking him. The update for it is that the fan who actually was the one that Punk hit was named Charles Schmidt, and he declined to press charges because of the incident. And Figure 4 had this really funny update. You want to talk about old-style wrestlers. This is a great little thing. In certain territories, a fan would throw all sorts of dangerous things towards the ring, including batteries, sometimes on fire, glass Gatorade bottles, which would also break and cut the wrestlers, rocks, cups of piss, etc. Terry Funk in his autobiography also noted that as a heel, quote, the ultimate badge of honor was if you got stabbed. He was stabbed a few times, and he tried to collect the blades, feeling they were the ultimate souvenir that he'd gotten his job done as a heel.
Why are so many old-timer storylines revolving around knives? Like Undertaker's like, God, no one brings their own knives into work anymore.
I know.
What? The heel heat when you get stabbed. Now, that's working.
Yeah, and he has those noises if he hears someone talk about him, the same way my wife did for a monophone ringtone in The Sopranos. Here's the other big news story.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan has filed 2 lawsuits. One against Bubba the Love Sponge Clem, his current actual real name of the former Todd Clem, and his ex-wife Heather Clem, and a second against the website Gawker.com, and has also said he's going to the FBI after local police declined to investigate the case involving a sex tape.
It is so mad, and I think indicative of where culture has been for the last 10 years. That is one of the most pivotal news stories of our generation.
Unbelievably is, because the chap that bankrolls this is quite a high-powered guy now within the White House.
It's
right?
Peter Thiel.
Yeah, Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel. He his company is called Palantir, I think, which is named after some evil future-seen stone in Lord of the Rings. He wants
naming a company Palpatine.
Well, they call it the PayPal Mafia. Peter Thiel was one of the early investors in PayPal, along with like Elon Musk and like all of these guys have then, there's like, you know, like you got the bloodline. Mm-hmm. There's a similar thing with the PayPal Mafia, and Peter Thiel's like the head honcho of these guys. Mm-hmm. And they've all gone off to do these crazy big things like Find LinkedIn and like these other huge companies. And Palantir is like one of the most ridiculously wealthy companies in the world. And the alleged is he handpicked J.D. Vance to be Donald Trump's running mate, with the theory is if Trump passes away when in office, J.D. Vance can assume that spot, but Vance is really just a puppet for Peter Thiel's very hardcore right-leaning libertarian views. Yeah. I believe he owns a bunker. I remember once reading a huge essay on how he wanted to create a city in the sea. Yep. Where lots of billionaires would live, so they didn't have to pay tax and be subject to regulations and whatnot. Yeah. Peter Thiel is full on, and he bankrupted a independent press company because they outed him as homosexual. Yeah. And he used Hulk Hogan's case to bankrupt them. Yeah. And look, Gawker were not a nice company. No. They were very sort of New York Post, tabloid, really like, you know, divulging private information that I think a more responsible company wouldn't do, and arguing that it's in the public interest when really it's just to get clicks, like, you know. But yeah, Peter Thiel took them down. And now look where we are, where a lot of independent press organizations are sort of threatened by similar things from that group of people.
But I wanted to read this news story here because you get into the real, like, this is a real life news story. And as you said, it's probably one of the most significant news stories of our generation. But it also involves Hulk Hogan and Bubba the Love Sponge, which means it's really a wrestling angle. The 30-minute tape involves Hogan and Heather Clem. According to Hogan, the tape was from 2006 when Heather Clem was 31. On the tape, Bubba's voice told the two in a bedroom, do it if they need him, he'll be in the office. After Hogan's attorney, David Houston, had tried to press charges, police in Clearwater and St. Petersburg declined to investigate the case. The Clearwater police said it was under the jurisdiction of the St. Petersburg police. The St. Petersburg police, according to Hogan's side, also said they wouldn't investigate, leading to Hogan and Houston to go to the FBI. The suit against Bubba and Heather Clem claimed that they were secretly taped. They secretly taped his having sex with Heather. Hogan claimed that he was not aware he was being taped and gave no permission. Hogan is suing for invasion of privacy, emotional distress, and violating state law, which makes it illegal to tape someone without their consent. He also claimed financial loss, citing it has injured his reputation and will lead to a decrease in his value as a personality. The suit asked for damages without giving the amount other than it being more than $15,000. He also sued Gorka for $100 million in damages in federal court, as well as asking for additional punitive damages. He's also seeking a temporary restraining order to force Gorka to remove the tape from its website and a permanent injunction to never put the video on anything related to the video on a site going forward.
But the fact that, publishing a sex tape is a super sketchy thing to do.
We'll come on to this in a little bit. Last week, the website had gotten a threatening legal letter from Hogan saying he had not given permission for the sex act to be taped, and thus they had no permission to put the tape on their site. Hogan is also demanding all copies of the tape be handed over to him, as well as there are any other similar tapes, so he can destroy them.
Especially the ones with the hard cut parting for the ad breaks. I know you've got them, Dave, in your garage.
They're expected to file additional counts against anyone involved in getting the tape from Clems to Gorka and other media. Gorka, which is a website run out of the Cayman Islands, claimed that it received a burned DVD of the footage from an anonymous source who wanted no payment for it.
Look, just again, they operate out of the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, I know.
The Gorka are not. It's a shame
they're
what happened,
not the good guys
but they're not the good guys either.
Bubba has been vague in being questioned about the incident, citing a confidentiality clause in his divorce from Heather that doesn't allow him to speak on specifics. But he did go on his radio show and called Hogan a hypocritical fraud and said that Heather Clem was the real victim in this situation. He said that Hogan's version that Heather kept wanting to have sex with him was not true, and said it was actually Hogan who drove him crazy about wanting to have sex with her. Bubba said that he made a mistake in allowing it to happen, but that there were people involved in this and all three of them knew what was going on. But he said Hogan was painting himself as a victim as to save his image. Bubba's lawyer, Stephen Diaco, said that this story has caused significant harm to Bubba, and he wasn't the one who released the tape and is looking to find out who did it. There was one media story this past week that a disgruntled former employer of the Bubba the Love Sponge show somehow got a copy of the tape and released it without his knowledge. But that story also claimed that Bubba would show the tape around. Bubba claimed he didn't show the tape or anything and has never even watched it. Others close to Hogan say that Hogan has a good idea of what he believed happened, but this isn't it. Those sources said he believes that Bubba was aware of the distribution of the tape and he's looking to get to the bottom of the chain of custody and how the tape became public. There's also the issue of Hogan believing there's a good chance another tape exists. Regarding the tape, it should be noted there's a conversation with Bubba and Heather Clem after Hogan left about now they have something that they can retire with, intimating either selling it or blackmailing the tape will make them rich.
This is such a carny story. No one comes out of this looking good. I mean, I don't have I just got a traditional group of friends? I don't often go to my friends and go, oh, come on.
Just let me have sex with your girlfriend.
Have sex with your wife, please.
Please.
To the extent where I wear down my friend and my friend's like, fine.
Yeah, okay.
Can I film it?
I'll never. If you need me, I'll be in the office.
I'll be in the office. Doing what?
I'm preparing for the Love Sponge radio show.
With this thumping happening from the next room.
Brother.
Racial words. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is the tape. I don't think it was at this time, but later.
It actually comes out later.
Years later. 2015, 16. That on that tape, Hogan said some awfully racist things.
Yeah. Clem said in a tirade to Hogan on the day after the lawsuit was filed, he's a one-way piece of crap who doesn't care about anyone but himself. He said Hogan was a liar and is using the situation to try and make money. Bubba reversed on pretty much everything he said over the years, claiming that Hogan was completely delusional, saying he's convinced himself Nick was innocent in the John Graziano crash, that Brooke has talent and Linda is a whore. These are not my words. These are words of Bubba the Love Sponge. Bubba, in fact, was defending Linda of all people. He said that he knows a lot about Hogan that Hogan doesn't want out, and claimed the story that Hogan met his current wife, Jennifer, at a health food store was made up. Yeah, I was always skeptical about that one. That's Dave putting that in. I always thought he met Jennifer at a Brooke Hogan lookalike contest. That's a Dave writing there.
That's a joke?
It's a joke.
Because Brooke Hogan isn't famous enough to have a Brooke Hogan lookalike contest.
Well, it was a joke at the time that his new wife did look a lot like Brooke Hogan.
Yeah.
Bubba said, "You're the ultimate lying showman." Bubba said he was guilty of letting Hogan talk him into sleeping with his wife, and said Hogan was a liar about not being aware that a tape was being made, and said that he was playing the victim card in an attempt to save his public image and his endorsements. "The true victim here is Heather," said Bubba. "I made a mistake in approving him to get together with my wife. There were 3 people in that room, and they all knew what time it was."
Showtime?
He even suggested Hogan could have something to do with the tape leaking out. Bubba is also scheduled to appear on Howard Stern, but the Stern people said it was 50-50 whether it would all fall through due to the legal issues. It's amazing in the sense that Bubba is talking about so much given he was just sued. Hogan was doing TNA activities all weekend, and it wasn't something being talked about. He wasn't moping around and didn't outwardly look like it was affecting him. Hogan is allegedly on the tape saying that if this got out, it could ruin his marriage, which is why Hogan no longer claims it was done between marriages as he has first claimed.
If this got out, does that not imply that?
No, it's because Hogan had always said with Linda, and it's in his autobiography as well, that he never had extramarital affairs while he was married to Linda. And so his first claim was that this was during 2006 while they were still married. So if it got out, it would ruin his marriage. But then he's saying that it wasn't done during that period of time. It was done between my marriages. So I never cheated on Linda with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
That's what he's concerned about at this point?
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, he probably doesn't know that the other part of the tape is also there.
What a promo it must have been. Let me tell you something, Bubba.
There's another aspect of this, which is Linda Belair. There is a reason that in the divorce, she got 73% of all marital assets and not 50%.
What an odd number to go for.
Well, she probably wanted 75. He negotiated her down to 73. You got a deal, brother.
70. We want 75%. I'm not going over 50.
That doesn't
73. Okay, put it there.
Anyway, Hogan said at the time that he just wanted it all over and done with, and there were certain things sealed in the settlement. I think with Hogan, even though it was underwater financially between the divorce settlement and the lawsuit settlement with the Grazanos, he is still Hulk Hogan. Between TNA and other ventures, he's always able to make money. This will certainly hurt him with a number of potential products, and everyone is waiting to see how Rent-A-Center will react to this. It's sad in a sense that he's broken down physically and most of the millions that he earned are gone, but unlike most in the situation, he will always have avenues to make money. A sex tape with your best friend's wife isn't the best thing for a commercial pitch, man. Hogan's been endorsing a new product that supposedly ups your testosterone at 2 a.m. TV ads. They, on the other hand, may not care about him being in the tape.
If anything, that's proof in the pudding right there. Look, I've got so much testosterone right now. My mate let me have sex with his wife.
It does say in that tape, though, "Oh, I shouldn't have had that sushi, brother."
Yeah. So I've not watched it, but I've read quotes.
If this got out.
And the quotes seem quite tragic. For a sex tape, which I'm pretty sure usually involves sex, this has way more sad dialogue. I don't think anyone's watching like the Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee, or the Kim Kardashian sex tape, and then going through how sad they are. I'm like, oh, my life right now. I've got my daughter's doing this, and like, the sushi I had for lunch.
I know, right?
TNA, but he doesn't say anything about TNA. What? Another example. He goes on all of these news shows and he never mentions TNA.
I mean, you mentioned like when Hogan passed, last month. This was a big part of people talking about his passing was the leaked sex tape with Bubba the Love Sponge. Yeah. The reason why I know the name Bubba the Love Sponge so much outside of this is because he was also on TNA in 2010.
Yeah,
and he upset Awesome Kong.
Yeah,
Awesome Kong beat him up.
Kong beat him up. Yeah.
Anyway, there's some other news. New Japan announced some shows on the 15th of November and the 19th of November in Tokyo called Never, which is in essence a copy of the NXT program in WWE. The idea is to use younger wrestlers not only from New Japan, but other promotions that New Japan has been working with, such as K-Dojo and DDT, and they will create a never champion.
A never openweight championship, which is still a few of them in use today.
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. I didn't know that.
It's just one of those little notes that when you're just sort of reading through, it's just like, it seems like nothing at the time. But, it's like, oh, wow, that will become something bigger down the line. I was going to talk about some Ring of Honor stuff, but do you think we've got time to talk about Ring of Honor?
Maybe you just do the bullet points.
Well, okay, round 2 of Delirious's era is off to a great start. Ring of Honor, for what feels like the first time in forever, had a successful weekend with the 11th Glory by Honor in Ontario. Glory by Honor, the longest running event in Ring of Honor, not only streamed online mostly without issues, but the show itself was pretty much well received by fans afterwards, featuring 3 very good matches and 2 singles matches, with Davey versus Lethal accompanied by a solid enough undercard. The show was easy recommendation if you've been hesitant to buy a ROH product ever again.
Is this during Jay Lethal's Truth Martini big title reign then, I guess?
No, it's not. I'll get to who the world champion is in a second.
Oh, right.
The company reported the show did 1,500 viewers.
Fans?
No, viewers to the online iPay-per-view.
1,500?
Yeah, 1,500.
That's not very many.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I said 1,500.
Yeah,
1,500 people. Yeah. So again, for all those people being like, Tony Khan's killed off Ring of Honor, there's more people watching it now than when it was like really popular. The 300 of which were freebies. The main event saw Kevin Steen retain the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship by defeating Michael Elgin in a match that went 31 minutes 30.
Yeah. Okay, I would have watched this show. I would have been one of those 1,200 people paying. Yeah, because I wouldn't watch them live, but I would have bought them to watch over the next few evenings.
Finish saw Steen hit a second rope package pile driver for the pin.
Yeah.
Crowd reacted huge for the finish with a standing ovation. Just excellent stuff throughout. This is Brian Alvarez writing, by the way. Excellent stuff throughout. Post-match, referee Paul Turner delivered a box to announcer Nigel McGuinness, who gave it to Steen in the ring.
Yes!
Nigel delivered it by saying on the mic that simply Steen has to open it. Ole chants started to ring around the crowd as Steen slowly opened the box and pulled out El Generico's mask. Steen had a look of shock on his face, with the Ole chants getting louder as the show signed off the air.
Brilliant angle, I remember it, and this is what sets up that final ladder war with I think we've shown it on the stream before, with the 2 ladders. They're all different colours, like the Daleks from the 80s Technicolor movies, and you got the ladder bridges going across.
Yeah. Brian Alvarez says that it's unclear at this time whether this is a one-off thing for Ring of Honor or if Generico is coming back full-time, because he's still got some Dragon Gate dates that he's doing as well. And one person noted that ever since Davey Richards has returned, he's vastly improved his attitude and is now a total team player. This person added, quote, hopefully this Davey is around for good. It should be noted, however, that last week Richards got on a mic after a match and cut a promo essentially burying Sinclair Broadcasting, and suffice to say that after that I did hear the usual "it's Davey being Davey" references. But quote, everyone was very happy and morale is up big time. One wrestler in Ring of Honor noted, we needed this.
Well, that's crazy, isn't it? Because this is sort of in the thick of my era of Ring of Honor. But I guess to everyone who's longer running fans dating back to the mid-noughties, they're like, oh, wow, what is going on with this company right now? We've gone through Cornette, now we've got Delirious, HDNet, Sinclair, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The Davey Richards run didn't work. Around this time, I would have probably met Davey Richards. It was a Rev Pro show in York Hall that Colt and Grado tagged in, and Davey was also on the card, and I loved Davey Richards. And I still do. I think he's one of the most overlooked wrestlers of this time period. And every wrestler I've met had been super nice, no matter whether they were a heel or what in the ring. And he was Frosty.
Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest stories took place over the weekend at a fan convention involving Harley Race, 69, and Leon Vader White, 56. White was in a bad mood at the convention and was nasty to fans. Race, who at most times is bound to a motorized car due to injuries suffered from a boating accident, was getting mad at him for how he was treating people there. Race wasn't in the card, perhaps because there were fans there, and he was moving very slowly without it. Race said something to him about the people paying to meet him and the way that he was acting, and White said something back that got Race mad. So Race punched White in the head. White then went to punch back, but the guy who brought White and Race in jumped in. White essentially punched the guy while going after Race. This all happened in front of fans. Even though Race hit him first, the idea White would go after Race in that condition is weird. Race and White apparently then went into a hallway and worked out their issue. The guy who took the punch had to get an ice pack. White ended up having to leaving, even though he was supposed to sign autographs for quite a while longer. When people asked Harley Race what happened, he just said, "Leon will never change."
Lot of people getting hit by wrestlers this week. Isn't that mad though that Vader was 56 at this point, you say?
Yeah.
Like that's how old Chris Jericho is now.
Yeah.
And Vader by this point has not really wrestled since, well, for over a decade.
He's
right?
coming up to, it's what, 3 years from now he'll have the match with Will Ospreay in Rev Pro that he tanked.
But he's not been around for ages.
No.
If an AEW was around at this point, they are definitely getting him to work some dates.
Working through some dates, absolutely. So Jerry Lynn, speaking of AEW, is going to be having his retirement match in Sittingbourne for Revolution Pro Wrestling.
That's the venue. I've told it before, where me and Ketman Dan got a long train to get there. This is where we first saw Walter back in the day. He was very green. He faced Michael Elgin. But we're walking to that Sittingbourne venue, which is really just a school hall.
Yeah.
It's a school, and then there was a little assembly hall. Like you could probably fit 200 people in there. And Dan hit his head on a post. And he was so annoyed.
Dennis Haskins, better known as Principal Belding in Saved by the Bell and its various remakes, will be doing a pro wrestling match against Kevin Matthews for the Pro Wrestling Syndicate Championship.
Yeah, Belding, huge wrestling fan.
Yeah.
They'd always show him in the crowd at Raw.
Bob Holly is doing an autobiography called The Hardcore Truth, which will be published by ECW Press early next year. Ross Williams worked with Holly on the project. I'm only bringing this up because I am friends with Ross. We haven't spoken for a number of years now, but I think if we met, he would still know who I am, and I know who he is. But yeah, there was a period of time when Ross and I were very close. We watched WrestleMania 32 together, in fact. That's the only reason I wanted to bring that up. That I think will win the Wrestling Observer Book of the Year when it's released. Do you want some TNA news?
Yes. How has it taken an hour
6 minutes
6 minutes on the TNA Focus podcast to get to TNA? All right, with the usual in the comments. Episode starts at 1 hour 6 minutes.
I know this will shock people, but Darren Aronofsky was asked about
Darren Aronofsky.
Wait for it. I know this will shock people, but Darren Aronofsky was asked about Hogan's story about being the original person asked to be the lead role in The Wrestler. He responded, "For the record, the role of the wrestler was always Mickey Rourke."
You're getting sued. We're going to sue you for $100 million, Darren Aronofsky.
It was never Hulk Hogan, as he has claimed on Howard Stern. Yeah, there you go. It was never Hulk Hogan, just to clear that up.
They never brought up all the other times Hogan lied in the lawsuit. Imagine, just as a sort of character study.
Straight for the penis.
Yeah.
TNA is attempting to get Scott Steiner's lawsuit against the company thrown out on a technicality. Steiner countersued TNA after they had first filed a suit against him, claiming he had violated his contract by his negative comments over the company, Dixie Carter, Hogan, and Eric Bischoff on Twitter, and that he continued to do so after being told not to and threatened with a lawsuit. Steiner claimed to have not been paid royalties as per his contract, nor given accurate accounting of merchandise and DVD sales that he was to get royalties from. TNA responded that in his contract, if a talent has an issue with royalties on merchandise sales, they must go to the company with the problem, and the company has 30 days to rectify it. TNA claimed that Steiner never went to the company in the first place to start the 30 days, and that is how they will get the lawsuit thrown out on a technicality.
Well, to be honest, that is fair. Like, you shouldn't just go straight public. Like, there are public disparagement things. You should try and work things out behind closed doors first. But a lesser man would have said his Twitter was hacked. Not Scott Steiner.
That was me. I said those things. Some WWE news now.
Oh, what?
I know, there's not a lot to...
People have been waiting an hour and 6 minutes. And we get Steiner...
Yeah. There was one other story about Austin Aries. There was a rumor backstage that they might be trying to work the boys with an Austin Aries heel turn and walk out. But if anything, it just sounds like it's Austin Aries being Austin Aries.
Well, that would happen 6 years later against John Morrison, when he just walked out and no-sold John Morrison's move.
I was going to build to an angle. There have been two new announcing for recent weeks in terms of announcements. Sorry, I'll say that again. There have been two new announcing hires in recent weeks. The first is Tom Hanfahan. Hanafahan.
Molyneux.
Hanafahan just graduated from Penn State last year and did sports announcing for the Big Ten Network. He was described as both bright green and both, which is to be expected. The other is Renee Paquette, 27, who came from The Score in Canada, where she was the female co-host of The Aftermath.
Yeah, well, one of the greatest wrestling interviewers. Like, she's up there with JB and Mean Gene, definitely.
Yeah, I'll do this one. MVP was on Conan's podcast and said, somewhat reluctantly, told the story about how during the end of his WWE run, he nearly got into a fistfight with John Laurinaitis. He said that he was frustrated with how he was being used and how he'd missed a flight the day before. He said he was at a hotel bar and wanted to talk to Laurinaitis, saying that he wanted to apologize about missing the flight, but also talked about his frustrations with the company. Laurinaitis had been drinking and apparently told him to get out of his face and shut up about it. Laurinaitis cut a promo on MVP in front of a lot of people, several wrestlers and others. MVP didn't back down and told him to put his hands up and, quote, "I'll beat your mother effing hands." MVP said it was that moment when he decided he was not going to be treated like this anymore. The bar was closing and they agreed to settle this outside. He said they were going at it when several wrestlers broke them up. The next day they both aired it out and everything was fine from there. Later, when he asked for his release to go to Japan, Laurinaitis agreed to it and he left on good terms. As far as potentially going back to WWE, since he's been working less dates with New Japan, there is no, he said that it could happen next year, but he's committed to the January 4th Tokyo Dome show.
MVP has a lot of backstage scuffles, doesn't he? What was that quote again? Put up your hands so I can beat up your hands.
I'll beat your mother effing hands.
I'll beat your mother effing hands.
Yeah.
It's a weirdly sort of tame but really terrifying threat, isn't it? Put up your hands so I can beat up your hands.
Yeah, but only your hands. I won't hit the face. Last news story before we get into all of the stuff we're actually here to talk about. This is from Figure 4. Last week, a woman named Shelley Elar was actually a former Shark Tank winner, got press after complaining that Alberto Del Rio had bullied her son by tearing up a sign he'd made for Sheamus at a house show. She wrote a letter to WWE that read, in part, "Take signs from adults, not kids. My son was bullied by your superstars and it is not okay."
Shut up. This woman is way too protective of her son. People are getting punched by CM Punk higher up. Better be thankful Del Rio didn't do a cross arm breaker on the kid.
The story went all the way to the front page of TMZ.com. WWE ended up sending her an apology, and Sheamus sent her a signed photo and offered to meet with her son the next time they were in town. In an interesting addition to the story, Dixie Carter called her and offered to bring her to Bound for Glory since the pay-per-view was on the West Coast, but she was unavailable on Sunday. Oh, sorry, no, I've oh no, it's I've got things to do.
Who's Dixie Carter?
Right. Aces and eights.
Aces and eights.
So we are joining this story for their first ever match. All they've done, and they've been doing this since, what's it, like June?
Yeah, but so this is October. Yeah, we've been going June, July. Let's say, okay, July, August, September, October, 4 months, yes.
4 months they've been doing
Could have
this
done that
angle.
in my head, actually.
Doing this angle for a while, and it's mostly just been ace and eights appearing and attacking. It feels like that. But I wonder if this is a response to. It's a response to two things. Number one, it's their version of the NWO, because the band didn't work out in 2010.
I'm going to also sprinkle a bit of Nexus in there.
That was going to be my second point on that. I think it is they wanted to do an NWO invasion storyline, and they also saw the negative reaction that the Nexus got in terms of WWE never followed up on it very well, but it did get a lot of early buzz. And I think you combine those two things together with a little bit of Eric Bischoff really liking motorbikes, and you put that together and you get aces and eights.
Yeah, I really feel the Nexus vibes off this, and also not learning any of the lessons that we have just learnt. In fact, this is quite interesting. We didn't plan this, that we have just done the deep dive into the Nexus. And I think the conclusion from that was the guys weren't ready.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The idea of having 7 guys is a fantastic visual, 7 new guys, but really only 3 of them were ever going to be stars. And the central one was not ready for a main event spot, which is what it really required people to go into, because they're all very green wrestlers. They just come through the developmental show. The only person really who could have been the leader that would have carried on is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Because he was already the best wrestler in the world, but circumstance took him out. He would never have been pushed in that way anyway.
He would have just been the same level as Justin Gabriel.
But
Or worse, Michael Tarver.
TNA see that, and they were never, the Nexus were never hooded guys. You knew their identities from the outset. So TNA saw this and they thought, well, let's have a faction that seems to range from 2 to 12 people at its max when there's a big brawl on one episode. Mm-hmm. But they're always masked, and we will drip feed the reveals, and those reveals will be peppered with semi-big names that you recognize.
Yeah, and there is ultimately one big leader, and we will discover who that leader is down the line. We will do the episode where they will reveal who the leader of the group is, which was at Lockdown 2013.
But it's more of a whodunit. Mm-hmm. Not a whodunit, rather. So Nexus was a straight-up invasion angle. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Trying to establish this brand new set of guys. This is more of a mystery. Who are these guys? It's invasion plus mystery.
Yeah, it is. And it's also, I've never seen the Sons of Anarchy, but I think that was also a really big influence on this as well, because it's biker gang culture, right?
Aesthetically, for sure. Yeah, like biker gang. The aces and eights, playing the cards, the motorbikes, but
the deep voiceovers.
You knew
How's it going, Hulk Hogan?
You knew all of the characters from the start.
Yeah.
You weren't revealed characters as aces. Sons of Anarchy went on.
So thankfully, because TNA is the greatest company in the history of mankind, they have got a video on their YouTube channel that is the history of Aces and Eights, and even then it is incomplete.
Yeah. I was like, where's the Joseph Parks stuff?
I know, they just dive in, they just like...
The best stuff!
Hogan's there to be like, where's Joseph Parks? Give us back Parks! And they was like, oh, we didn't actually show the angle where they kidnapped him. They also don't show them interview. So I've tried to piece together as best of a timeline as I possibly can to get us to Bound for Glory. So, they attacked Sting on an episode of Impact.
Yeah, this is the final segment. It's his Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
So like a pretty big spot to end on.
Yeah, so they attacked him and it was like who are these guys? The following week, Hulk Hogan. If you've never seen TNA at this period of time as well, the way they did backstage segments was that the wrestlers didn't know they were being... shouldn't talk about with Hogan here. Didn't know they were being filmed. But sorry, someone's in the office. It's fine if they need them. But yeah, like it was the cameras. It's not like WWE, which is like there's a camera in front of them and there are boom mics and there's lighting and stuff. They were just sort of like roving cameras and stuff. But oddly, in one of these segments, Brooke Hogan takes off her mic pack, so it's more like a reality TV style of doing it. It was
actually like the only innovation that TNA did in the Bischoff-Hogan era. I always thought it was a Bischoff thing, but apparently it was someone else who worked in the production team who really spearheaded this technique and who would later work with AEW.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense because it's not like Bischoff's had any ideas since 1996.
No. And that wasn't even his idea. But yeah, it's sort of that candid style where the camera is shooting through blinds or through a doorway. It was, I really appreciated it at the time because, you got to think of where WWE is at in the early 2010s. And it is very staged, very my guest at this time. Or I'm cutting a promo on someone and they walk into shot. All one shot, it doesn't feel real. But this was evoking the aesthetics of reality TV. And you would always ask, like, well, why would the wrestlers say these things if they knew a camera was on them? Why are they giving away their plans?
Yeah. And
then that would separate them from promos. JB would stand there for the wrestler to cut a promo on the person for their match. But these shots were done more to... actually give information in a way that's believable.
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan is the general manager of Impact Wrestling at this point, and he gets given a package that reveals their name is Aces and Eights, which is the dead man's hand.
Yeah, it's like a 8, ace, 8. Do you know what that is? Why it's a dead man's hand?
I do not know.
Well, I looked it up. It's an Old West folk hero, lawman, and gunfighter called Wild Bill Hickok, who I think is just called Wild Bill, he was murdered while playing the game, and that was his hand.
No way.
Well, it's probably fake, but...
That's what law says. So then they also attacked Hogan and Sting on the same...
Also, can I just say one more thing? that's delivered to him, but not like he just sees it in a folder. A guy walks in with no face mask on and says, "We're not cowards," and throws it at him. I'm like, what? Everyone saw that guy's face. Hogan says, "Someone get that guy."
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing that guy's then fired.
Yeah, but couldn't they question him or something?
Well, we'll get to questioning later. At Hardcore Justice, they attacked D'Angelo De Niro and wrote him off TV. They also attacked Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray during a 4-way tables match. They then attacked Austin Aries and knocked him unconscious. I've taken this bit from Wikipedia because I've had to try and piece together the Wikipedia entry, which actually is sparse, which is it's frustrating, as well as this TNA video they've got. This is from Wikipedia. The following week on Impact Wrestling, a low-level member of Aces and Eights named Mike was interrogated by Austin Aries into leaking information about Aces and Eights, but Aces and Eights came out and knocked out Mike with a hammer to prevent him from revealing anything.
That wasn't in the timeline.
I know, right?
They found
complete timeline my ass.
Wait. So this guy was unmasked and they knew his name.
Yeah, it might have been the same guy that you were talking about earlier, Mike.
So look, this is a fun storyline, and at the time, it was one of the more exciting things in wrestling.
Yeah,
but they immediately whiffed it because one of the main things about a masked invasion faction shouldn't have them immediately unmasking someone that no one knows the name of. Like you should be able to think any of these guys could be someone from WWE.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny that they were going to get information, so Ace and Eights came out and knocked him out with a hammer.
And killed him.
So, well, no more information from him then, I guess. Then they attacked Kurt Angle. This is all on various different episodes. They attacked Kurt Angle as James Storm was calling him out for an open fight night challenge. They jumped Sam Shaw, but as he was doing his gut check challenge.
Yes, Sam Shaw, you might know better, by Dexter Loomis.
Yeah, because he was Sam Shaw. Then he does get signed by TNA, and he starts doing a Dexter gimmick.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, then when he goes to WWE, he is called Dexter Loomis. On that same show, they attacked Austin Aries, causing a DQ in his match with Bobby Roode, and then they also attacked Bobby Roode. There's a very cool thing where it's like, it looks like Bobby Roode's actually in cahoots with an Aces and Eights, and he sort of like gives them the thumbs up, and then they beat him up as well. No one is safe, not even dastardly heels like Bobby Roode.
It does get over. It really, they do a really good job of getting over how the whole locker room is not affiliated with them, and then even the heels and faces are joining together to take them out.
Yes, Nexus beating down Punk.
Yeah.
Sting was then made the GM because Hulk Hogan actually had to go and get surgery. So he was.
Hogan was attacked.
Yes, that's what I mean. But like to cover Hogan getting surgery, Sting was made GM on TV.
And this is all the time when the sex tape is in the news, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah, I suppose, because then he sues them later, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What
a summer.
They called out Aces and Eights. Aries came out and said that they tried to make a statement where he will jump them and, he'll see them. Angle also comes out. He wants to fight them too for taking his chance of fighting for the title. Bobby Roode comes out and says that he knows who's behind these attacks. It's that dastardly James Storm. And Storm comes out, and then he gets attacked from behind. So immediately, it's not James Storm, and everyone has a big old brawl. Ace and Eights attacked Angle again, and Aries, and Sting, and AJ made the save. Storm also ran down, and Ace and Eights left him alone because, maybe we are all in cahoots with all of this. Where have I got to get to here? Sting then has a backstage segment with Brooke Hogan. Brooke Hogan, who is the leader of the Knockouts division at this point.
What does that mean?
She's the general manager of the Knockouts division.
Yeah.
So he's asking her, how you doing? Bear in mind, it's Joker Sting as well, so it's really just a normal conversation with the Joker. How you doing, Brooke?
Yeah. Well, I've got the timestamps.
Please do. For
the later Joker Sting promo.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Just because I think if people aren't aware of what Joker Sting is, it's we need to show you.
It's amazing. So anyway, where do we get to? So yes,
the Brooke
Hogan
chat.
Yeah. So Sting asks Brooke how Hogan is doing, and he says this is the first time that she's got to look at him. And Sting says that Ace and Eights is being run by someone on the inside. And Sting reminds her she's got to run the Knockouts division. Brooke is then handed a package which has got the Ace and Eights hand, which means she is the next target. She removes her mic back and walks out. She's later in the ring having a go at Madison Rayne, and Ace and Eights get in the ring. bullies Aries, Angle, Sting, and Hardy running for the save, and it is hilarious how little this audience cared about Brooke Hogan possibly being attacked. Like, there is no reaction to Ace and Eights getting in the ring, standing across from Brooke Hogan. It's cricket wireless.
But it is nice that the sort of Avengers baby faces, even though Bully Ray has been a heel up until this point, like they're all banding together. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So then we go to a commercial break. When we come back, Sting calls out Ace and Eights again. He said, next week, it's open fight night. We got a bunch of guys. You bring a bunch of guys. Bully then has a match with Jeff Hardy, and Storm gets involved in this match at some point, and that's when Bully Ray accuses Storm of being involved. Ace and Eights then show up and beat down Storm, so that's that mystery gone.
Yeah, so this is the backstage segment after that, and this is the return of Hulk Hogan. Now, you're going to hear two things in this clip. You're going to get crazy Joker Sting.
Yeah, doing his Jim Carrey impression.
Yeah, not even the Heath Ledger Joker.
No, he's doing Ace Ventura more than anything.
Yeah.
I hear you guys want to play card games.
Yeah. And then Hogan attacks them and just becomes a dog for ages. Okay, so here we are. Oh, did you cover the bit that they start clapping Storm, but then they beat him up too? Yeah. Right, okay.
Mystery
so here
solved.
we go.
Hey. Where you going? Gonna play some games? Awkward right now, isn't it? It is awkward. Pregnant pause. Two more games, right?
Pregnant pause.
Card games. How about the 52 card pickup? I love games too! Check this game out. It's a lot of fun. Let's play! If you ever look at my daughter again, I'll cut your stinking heart out and feed it to my damn dog.
So that should be the end of the growling. He's purring. I think he's got sleep apnea going by this.
You're back. It's showtime! It's showtime!
Yeah. Lot to dive into.
I mean, just
So cool moment when Sting's like, I like to play games too.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one. Chucks the bat. Hogan's behind them. Does he take out all three guys with one bat swing? That's all he does, right?
Awkward now, isn't it? Pregnant pause.
Time for more games, right? How about some card games? How about the 52 card pickup? I love games too! Check this game out. It's a lot of fun. Let's play!
But again, we said at the start of this, if you are a member of the TNA roster, like the World Heavyweight Champion, or Samoa Joe, or AJ Styles, you're going to get beaten up. But if you are Hulk Hogan, you're beating them all up on your own with one bat shot. And at no point do they think, we should probably unmask some of these guys and figure out who they are.
They are all dead. All three of them are unconscious.
If you ever put a finger on my daughter again.
They've kidnapped Joseph Parks by this point, I think.
I think that might come later.
Might come later. But yeah. Just unmask them. You've taken them out. And the problem is, Aces and Eights are never really a proper threat. There's a lot of brawling and they attack people and they do like this creepy messages and they kidnap Joseph Parks. But really, stuff like this undermines all of that way too much. It is a lot of TNA telling us they're a threat rather than actually ever showing us.
Well, I think a way to establish them as a threat is not have Hulk Hogan beat them all up in one go.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I would do it.
He didn't even touch that other guy at the end of the row.
He ran off. He was too scared.
Who?
It's Hollywood Hulk Hogan. This is also, it's the return of Hollywood Hogan here.
Right. Before it was red and yellow.
Yeah, he's ditched the red and yellow. He's now Hollywood Hogan because the Aces and Eights have pushed him to this point. He's got to go Hollywoods.
And this, if you watch that clip and then just listen to the audio, That's also that you probably got an impression of what the backstage vignette filming style is, which is quite shaky. 24 handheld style.
Yeah, pregnant pause. We then go to that open fight night, and it is Sting, Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, Devon, Austin Aries, Rob Van Dam, James Storm, Mr. Anderson, Gunner, Rob Terry, and Robbie E. And then Aces and Eights come out of the woodwork, and they have a big old brawl.
Yeah. There's way more TNA people than there are Aces and Eights.
Well, that's why TNA get overwhelmed. But Hulk Hogan beats up all of his guys backstage. He's beating up like 5 guys on his own. AJ Styles, on the other hand, is being beaten up by just like 2 of them.
Yeah. It is a fun, chaotic brawl.
It's there. So this is it's evocative of the original NWO angle, the one where they lawn dart Rey Mysterio into the side of that truck. Like that is what they're going for here. This wild, chaotic, never before seen style stuff, and it is genuinely awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But I do think there's a problem with. Similar to Nexus, there comes a point when there's so many masked people in the ring that it is diminishing returns. Like there's probably a sweet spot of just 6, or maybe even 7. 8 was the Nexus
8 was
originally.
the original, yeah.
But here I think there's about 12 Aces and Eights guys, and I think it just NWO Black and Reddit it. Is that right? Did I do that?
Wolfpack, yeah.
Too soon. We're like, well, what is the quality control for these guys? Do they just let in any old jobber? Like, who are the filler of this faction? I don't care.
So yeah. Also, then Hogan realized he does need some backup for this, so he gets Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Does he ever do anything?
I don't think so.
He just says he's got Hogan's backstage, but the next thing in the timeline is Hogan and Sting being kidnapped. Great job, Shaq.
Shaq just wanted to show off how massive muscles he's got.
Big biceps.
So yeah, we do then have them being kidnapped in what I am going to describe is this generation's Dungeon of Doom.
No, it's not that bad. Look. This is the end of the brawl. Yep. Just play the brawl. Oh, wow. They've got everybody. Bullies chase them off. That's an important point, considering where we eventually go.
They've just hurt the arm of... They've broken the arm of Austin Aries, who is a babyface at this point.
Now, at the end, you can hear Eric Bischoff right now. Oh, yeah. Look how cool they are on their motorbikes.
I've written in my notes here, they rode off on their fat hogs. Then there's the stuff with Shaquille O'Neal.
Obviously.
Oh,
he's red and yellow. Hogan there again.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted long, this Hollywood thing. Then.
Batman and Robin. Captain into the Hill. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. I gotta tell you what, Hogan is saying, metaphorically speaking, you guys are just so predictable. Who are you?
That shot looks like Eric Bischoff's ears.
It probably is.
Yeah. Doesn't that look... I don't know if it's the leather jacket or the hair, but that... I didn't realize how familiar I was with the back of Eric Bischoff's head.
It also would not surprise me because you're listening to that audio. That's not who the eventual leader will be revealed to be. I bet you it's Eric Bischoff doing the VO in the same way that it was Vince doing the VO for the Undertaker's Stalker when it's revealed to be DDP. Yeah. It was actually Vince McMahon talking about his long lens.
Do you think they had an idea that Bischoff might be the leader at this point?
Bet Bischoff did.
Makes more sense.
What do you want? Who I am isn't really important right now. What I want is...
Multiple cameras in there, by the way. You got about 4 camera guys for coverage here. All of that great work I said that they did to make it believable. Yep, you're getting close-ups. This should be filmed...
Where is Parks?
This should be filmed by Aces and Eights.
Yes, exactly. This is when I said about the Dungeon of Doom theme. Think lines like, "Where is Parks? Release Parks!"
You decided to play chess, one-up us, and lock us out of the building. You made our life a little difficult, I have to admit. And we want to fix that. So I had a little proposition.
Can you hear Bischoff's cadence?
I got a proposition. Watch your tires and let's fight this thing out right now. Right now. All in good time. Like my man told you last week. This is our house.
There's a machete.
There are rules.
You know AJ Styles is in this promotion. And we're watching Hogan and Sting be kidnapped by a motorbike gang.
Acting.
Share the good times. We do. We've learned to like you. In fact, we've been spending a little time with your pal.
It's definitely Bischoff. Nail it here, like 100%. Joseph Parks. Joseph.
Yeah. You need to let him go. You got us. Oh, I'll let you go.
Joseph Park's the best thing in this.
If you're not, Joseph Parks, if you're not aware, it's Abyss.
Yeah.
Or Chris Park. He actually is. He is now in
Yeah.
WWE.
So he was Abyss for the longest time, and then only in April this year, Abyss had been missing for a bit, and Joseph Parks turned up to find his brother.
Yeah.
But he's Abyss.
And he's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
He works for Parks and Parks.
He's a really meek, mild-mannered lawyer.
Yeah.
But it's sort of quite a Clark. Should we just stop this? He's sort of got this wonderful Clark Kent Superman physicality to him, Joseph Parks, because, and what you'll see it later in the Bound for Glory match. Even though this is the monster Abyss, he is still the huge 6'5" whatever guy, hulking frame. He makes himself look so small in that suit.
Yeah.
Like he is just a bumbling oaf, trying to do his best Clark Kent figure.
So the match is made for Bound for Glory. It is going to be... Hogan has to pick two of his best guys. It can't be Hogan. They do specify it can't be you. This isn't about you. It's got to be someone else.
Yeah, because the Aces and Eights leader wants Hogan to know that it's his fault when the two toughest Aces and Eights guys beat his two toughest.
That's right, yeah. So, can't be Hogan, but he has to pick two guys. So he picks Sting and Mr. Anderson.
But
then Mr. Anderson gets beaten up, and Bully Ray points out, like, why did you pick him? You should pick me. Problem is that Bully Ray has been, like, probably the top heel of the promotion. So Hogan has a tough time trusting what Bully Ray is going to do. So he doesn't want it to be Bully Ray. But with Anderson down, Bully convinces Sting, let me be the guy. And Sting turns to Hogan and is like, I think it should be him.
Yeah.
So they shake hands as the crowd chants for Devon.
Yeah, and that's the go home segment. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Bully Ray will eventually be revealed as the leader.
Oh, spoilers.
And one of the questions is, but you got beaten up by them in the tag match. But he explains it as, yeah, but I had to make you all convince.
I think there's a better storyline than that, though. He guaranteed them access to TNA. Like, the stipulations of this match is, if Aces and Eights win, they get access to the Impact Zone. Because at the moment, they're not allowed in. They just have to break in, and then they get fought off. But if Aces and Eights win at Bound for Glory, they're allowed to be in the Impact Zone. So Bully Ray taking the pin means that he is essentially given his guys access to it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Bully Ray does.
Why am I writing this better than TNA did? You set up the pieces in place.
Yeah, but it's a really nice slow burn face turn for Bully, who had, like, you know, again, if you didn't live through these few years and you just, maybe you're a lapsed fan or you're a newer fan, so you either only know Bubba from being an awful radio host, or that's unfair, he's quite fun sometimes, or being like the Attitude Era Dudley Boys guy. He was genuinely the top heel single star in the business for like 2011 through to 2013.
Yeah, he was really, really good. And I think that is a badge that he still wears to this day, that he had a 2-year really good run. That's why people should listen to him a lot.
But it's one of the greatest character reinventions.
Yeah.
Here is a tag team guy
who no one wanted to see as a singles wrestler.
And God, by God, his promos, his matches were always, you know, they weren't great in-ring matches, but the heel he got, he would just stall and stall and stall, just like Macho Man used to do as a heel. I really, really rate that era of Bully.
Dave Meltzer would say of this show, Jeff Hardy, this time as a babyface, captured the TNA World Heavyweight title from Austin Aries in the main event of Bound for Glory, the company's biggest show of the year. That wasn't much of a surprise. The feeling is, with Hardy's contract expiring early next year, combined with Hardy being the closest thing to a drawing card the company had on the road, although nowhere near as he was in 2010, and being by far the company's top merchandise seller, the decision was made to go with him instead of James Storm as the babyface to build around. While some may be negative on the decision, given Storm was a homegrown and new guy, at that level, the reality is that TNA could do whatever they could with Storm, and he was never going to be the level of star as Jeff Hardy. Certainly, there are questions regarding Hardy's reliability. His track record and legal status are an open book, but with one hiccup, he was really had no problems since his return, and people internally have raved about how having a child has changed Hardy completely and for the better. There is years of a track record to be considered, but unlike in the past when dealing with Hardy was a matter of looking the other way and pretending not to know what you do, the situation really is different.
But this is post Victory Road 2011,
Yeah. It's the redemption story for Hardy. That's the story of this show.
I could never. Like I've said it before. There comes a point when you just have to be a responsible person and go like, look, you can have a second chance, but it's not with us because you've burned us. You've used up your chances, and there's this huge track record that unfortunately shows you do revert or relapse to your old behavior.
Yeah.
And as we've seen in the sort of 13 years since this point, it happens a few times going forward.
The AEW run.
But unfortunately, wrestlers, promoters, Jeff Hardy will always get work.
He's a star. But there was a big surprise related to the match. The fans. In Phoenix on that night, to what appeared to be the majority of the 2,900 fans in attendance, Hardy was John Cena in an urban major market. He had his fans, but for the most part, he was heavily booed. Aries, who had just turned heel, was cheered to kind of a remarkable degree by an audience that was heavily wrestling fans in their mid-30s and older, who seemingly largely transplanted 90s fans of WCW, WWF, and ECW. Hardy has not got a negative reaction almost anywhere since he came back as a face, and at most of the house shows when he was a heel, he was having to play face because fans wouldn't buy into TNA storylines and boo him. But even though he was booed when he pinned Aries to win the title, the crowd cheered like a babyface had won the title. Whether it's for the title change or that it was just Hardy supporters reacting and the Aries supporters being left quiet can be speculated. As the match was going on, it did appear the desired reaction to the title change may not happen. And I was actually reading a couple of other website reviews of this, and there are some people who are bitter that this is not James Storm versus Bobby Roode for the world title.
Well,
and it should have been.
We'll get on to that when we get to the street fight, but that is the story, the year-long story they started the previous Bound for Glory.
Overall, the show was well received, largely based on the 3 matches that looked to be top level going in, all delivering. Besides the title match, the Bobby Roode versus James Storm street fight, and the tag title match where Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez won the titles in a 3-way over tag team champions Kazarian and Daniels, and AJ Styles and Kurt Angle were top notch. The other major news was a couple of angles in the Sting and Bully Ray versus Ace and Ace match, which was Luke Gallows and Mike Knox. Bully Ray didn't turn on Sting. Instead, there were 2 sets of interference. In the first, a masked man, Wes Briscoe, ran in and saved the day. Joseph Park, who had been brought out as if been abused for weeks and handcuffed to the barricade, suddenly broke the handcuffs, attacked the masked men, and in his role as the non-athletic big guy, clumsily, on purpose, brawled to the back with the masked man.
Spot of the night.
Later on, after Sting had told Ray to get the tables, it wound up being another masked man interfering and giving Ray a spinebuster through the table, leading to him losing. The snips were, with the win, Aces and Eights are now going to be regulars on TNA television. A whole group of masked men then attacked Sting and Ray until Hulk Hogan made the save. Hogan walked to the ring, and one guy after another ran at Hogan and went down as Hogan punched them. Inside the ring, Hogan, Sting, and Ray got the masked man who caused the finish, and he was unmasked as Devon. The place went silent. Hogan, Sting, and Ray sold it as if they were shocked. My assumption on this, as noted on here before, was that Devon was coming back with the Aces and Eights group only because they kept mentioning his name on television, which made no sense. It also appears, since TNA isn't able to draw, that instead of trying to book angles to draw, they're trying out fooling people. With Devon and Matt Morgan, we've seen a similar MO. In both cases, contracts expired legitimately and the guy was gone. In both cases, they went on social media and made references to going to Raw. It's pretty clear that WWE won't touch anyone who was in TNA at the time. Jerry McDevitt stated they have no interest in anyone from the company, nor were they going to sign anyone, as an argument to get temporary restraining orders against WWE were overturned. Then they make surprising returns. However, the reality is different. Right now, when it comes to these types of angles, TNA is not booking long term. Apparently, the Devon deal was an idea that came up in the last 2 weeks, as opposed to being a worked firing. Yeah, that's it. Then they also note as well that the reason why Chavo and Hernandez won the tag titles is trying to appeal to that Hispanic audience.
Oh, okay.
But Ollie Davis, it's the 14th of October, 2012. What is going to be, and I've actually not got this prepped yet, so I should get this. What is the #1 movie at the box office?
So we wouldn't, I'm just trying to think in the Cena Rock series that we did.
Oh, yeah, we might have actually. Oh, no, we wouldn't have done a show in October 2012.
We wouldn't have done October, but Survivor Series was November 2011, wasn't it?
Survivor Series 2011, yes.
Yeah, never forget.
Well, never again.
So we wouldn't have done October. We wouldn't have done any of this half of 2011. We would have done January 2013.
Sure, would have done, yeah. I'll give you some films that have come before this.
Place me.
Well, in May, obviously, we had The Avengers. Or as we had it here, Avengers Assemble.
Can't get it confused with the 60s camp detective show.
We've also had The Dictator.
Oh, the Sacha Baron Cohen movie.
Men in Black 3.
Oh no, that is good. Sorry, I was going to say Men in Black International. I really like Men in Black 3.
Josh Brolin does an incredible Tommy Lee Jones impersonation.
He's better than Tommy Lee Jones.
Prometheus.
Right.
#1 for 3 whole weeks.
And we're still flogging that horse as we record this with the release of Alien Earth a couple of weeks ago.
Way better than anything Ridley Scott has done with that series. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Okay.
Ice Age 4, Continental Drift. Your favourite, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, wow. If that came out there, I would have still been with 4Music because I wrote that article, which was like 6 reasons Spider-Man's a dick.
Yeah.
And I think that article got me a date.
Huh.
Yeah, a girl in the production team found it funny and started talking to me, and we went on like a date a couple of weeks later.
If anyone's watching this and you're looking to how do I get a date, write a funny article for a website.
It was the only time ever that a movie blog got me a date.
We had The Dark Knight Rises in July.
Okay.
Ted in August. Brave as well. The remake of Total Recall.
Yeah, with Colin Farrell.
Dread. What a summer of films we had here.
Great film.
Paranorman, Looper, and then it is this movie, which has been, it's in its second and final week at the #1 spot. It has been #1 for 2 weeks.
Wow, Looper's a great movie as well. Paranormal Activity 2.
No.
Paranormal Activity 3.
It's not horror.
It's not horror.
No.
Does the horror come the following weeks? I guess?
No, because this is being replaced by, well, maybe Madagascar 3.
It's a classic Halloween release. Oh, man. Well...
Okay, it's action.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a clue that I won't give. I will.
Fast and Furious was out earlier this year.
It's not that brand of action.
Oh.
It's the different. It actually will become quite a popular. Like the first one of because it's a sequel. The first one of this creates almost like a brand new genre of action. It's like that, and it's
too late to be Hunger Games and dystopian teen stuff.
It's actually what was the right time. Twilight Saga comes out. Breaking Dawn Part 2 will be a #1 movie later on this year. But yeah, it does sort of start like a sort of a new genre.
A new genre of action.
Yeah. Okay, its lead star has just been in a really big movie within the last couple of months. Within the last month, in fact. And he was the lead of it, and it was a surprising announcement that he was the lead of it.
So the biggest movie in the last few months is The Avengers?
I didn't say the biggest. Oh, biggest in this terms of?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about recently.
Oh, recently?
Yeah. So recently, the lead actor of the movie that is #1, as we're looking at here, 14th of October 2012, has been the lead of one of the biggest movies of the summer here in the UK and in America, actually.
Okay.
And it was a surprising announcement when he was announced as the lead of the movie.
Okay, so the biggest movie of the...
So the biggest.
One of the biggest movies of the summer.
It's only a movie that you and I have talked about a lot, yeah.
Is Naked Gun. Is it Taken? Taken 2.
Taken 2.
Taken a third time. Taken is in Europe, is it?
Is it in Europe?
I'm pretty sure.
It is in Istanbul.
Yes, okay, this is the one where I'm pretty sure where the daughter starts just driving around like, they get a car. You're going to have to drive, but I can't. I only just passed my test. And it's like, yeah, you passed your test in an automatic in America. How are you driving a gearbox round the tiny streets of Istanbul?
So I was referring to the this. It did actually have a new genre of movie, which was the geri-action movie.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get you.
And that was Liam Neeson's next 10 years, really.
It was, yeah. He did quite a lot of them. Do you want to have a guess at what was the number one song?
Well, again, it's in my era, but it's at the tail end of me paying attention to full music. Nicki Minaj.
Let me see if I can find the. Where are you? Is this number one? That's number one albums. Number one singles. Here we go. 14th. What did you say?
Nicki Minaj.
No.
Calvin Harris.
No.
Dizzy Rascal.
No.
Taylor Swift.
No.
Beyonce.
No.
Justin Timberlake.
No.
JLS.
No.
October.
It's amazing. There is a name that you usually say within that you've not
Rihanna.
said yet. Yes.
And this feels like after Rude Boy and stuff like that.
It actually knocked off Gangnam Style from the number one
Oh,
position.
wow. I must have my timelines off then. I'm still at 4 Music. I've not started freelance. I'm still at 4 Music for the next year, but I am in my evenings going to work on Wrestle Talk.
Yeah, because they used to shoot in evenings.
Yeah, it was Monday evening.
Mm-hmm.
God, for so long.
Yeah.
And it would get so hot there in the summer.
Yeah.
And it would be like, I'd try every time. It'd be like everything's on schedule, and then people would go for cigarette breaks, and you can never, ever. There's never enough time built into the slack of my schedule for how long people take cigarette breaks. Rihanna, California King Size Bed.
No.
Is it with Paul McCartney, that one?
Nope. Oh, well, I don't know, but it's not the song I'm after.
Any clues?
It's the lead single from her 7th studio album, Unapologetic.
Any other clues?
Sia wrote the track.
Oh.
It has topped music charts in over 20 countries.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It is Rihanna's 12th number one single and tied her with Madonna and the Supremes with the 5th most number one singles in the chart's history.
Yeah, well, this was before Sia sort of came out as her own solo artist force. I do know the song, but I can't remember the name.
The song was called Diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one that goes, chain break like a diamond?
Yeah.
that one. Is that one?
And didn't no, that was the Eminem. But yeah, Diamonds. There we go. Oh,
There
fascinating.
you go. So you go. There is all of the news. Shall we now talk about the show? And what better way to kick off this show with a lovely little slice of TNA? Because, there's a lovely little video package that we have at the start of this. Just get through this here. They're going to show lovely clips of Bound for Glory. Dixie Carter doing a voiceover.
Bound for Glory is what I think of when I think of TNA's greatest moments.
Absolutely. And so let's really relive some of those classic moments.
Many of them come from Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed an electric finish to an electric night in Atlanta, Georgia, where Sting has become the new TNA World Heavyweight.
Yes. Straight in from the start. TNA's gonna TNA.
Now, I don't want to burst any bubbles. That is a problem with YouTube.
Oh.
So I had a rip of this, and it turns out I had a rip of the YouTube rip, because I then went to the YouTube and I had that exact same cut.
Yeah.
On TNA Plus, the full video package is there.
Oh, so why did maybe they used a music track that they didn't have access to?
That's my guess, is that then it just got removed by YouTube's editor.
Yeah, so if you're not aware, if you put a video on YouTube and someone, WWE, claims it incorrectly usually, you do have the option, rather than uploading a whole new video, to just snip out the offending bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that explains why it's quite a harsh cut.
It's such a harsh little cut.
So what are the other memories? Do you know?
Yeah, well, we can see, because I've got TNA Plus here. Let me just load it up for you now.
Oh man, if this is all a setup to it doing the same cut, I will really be happy with you.
To me, Bound for Glory is so special because it's the culmination of an entire year of competition, all rolled into one night.
Although we are dicing, this is the public video as well, like, we might get the exact same.
Glory gives herself only to those who dream of her.
Best matches that I've had here at TNA.
And Arvid, okay, this makes way more sense.
Yeah.
This is a good opening video
it's
package.
Not just Dixie Carter being like, well, my favourite memories come from Bound for Glory. TNA wrestling. So unfortunately we don't get the full version of it on YouTube, which I was genuinely gutted by. But we are live from Phoenix, and it looks packed in this building.
You said it was 2,900?
2,900.
At this time, what a crowd. These days, that will make everyone say your promotion is dying.
Yeah, but here, everyone's like, TNA's thriving.
Oh my God, the biggest show of the year. They've pulled in nearly 3,000. If Dynamite does less than 2,000, less than 3,000, I don't know, it's WCW numbers.
That's WCW 2000 right there. But yeah, we have got my favourites. No, it's not my favourite commentary, because that's obviously Tenay and West. But Tenay and Taz, I think the only reason I'm saying it is because on the next episode, that lineup changes. No,
Is that? Oh.
not because of that.
Oh.
And it's, I don't know if it does continue, but it's not just a two-man booth at the next show. And there's
King Mo?
patreon.com/Wrestle. We'll talk about that in the next episode.
What a tease. Taz and Mike Tenay, for me, they bickered a bit too much on this show. Which is weird, because they're not yet in a proper heel-face dynamic. Mm-hmm. Taz will eventually join Aces and Eights.
Get tight in here. Also, this is the really weird transition point of TNA as well, where they are TNA, and this is TNA Bound for Glory, but also there's lots of signs up for Impact Wrestling, and they often also call themselves Impact Wrestling, because as the story goes, Hulk Hogan didn't promote TNA when he was doing a lot of his public appearances because he was embarrassed to use those three letters, because TNA was only called that as a gag by Vince Russo, because it sounds like T and A, which is an initial...
It's a three-person faction from the Attitude Era, yes. Test and Albert.
Initialism for tits and ass.
Yeah, if it was what's the other one? Acronym. You would be able to say it as one word.
Yes. So tits and ass. So he called it TNA, Total Nonstop Action. That's the joke. You might accidentally say, or it sounds like you're saying T and A.
Yeah.
And here they are, years down the line, and Hulk Hogan's like, that doesn't work for me, brother. Let's rebrand it to Impact Wrestling, which lasts for way longer than you'd think.
Well, Hulk Hogan is a famously demure guy. He doesn't like his sex tapes being out there, like a normal person.
Well, Hulk Hogan, the character. Terry Bollea, the real person.
I think you can actually track the rise of the MAGA movement depending on what TNA is called. Or do you know, like, maybe not the MAGA movement, but we've just been through, I guess, about 10 years of woke dominant culture, and that's when TNA was Impact. But January 2024 they rebrand as TNA, and then all of a sudden Naked Gun's back in cinemas. It's okay to offend people again.
So it's a tricky transitional period, and I also feel maybe that's one of the reasons it kind of pushed me away.
Oh, because it wasn't GFW like you wanted it to be.
Which I really wanted it to be. And what a world it could have been when it was going to be GFW.
I'm still convinced it was James Storm on GFW and TNA and NXT at the same time.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
And he flat out denied it.
I didn't work those days.
Well, I think he doesn't know that footage was used.
Well, there's also a chance that you yourself said, I can't find any evidence online that this happened. So it could just be that your memory is wrong.
No, it can't be me.
The big stories in for this show, of course, Aces and Eights, but there's also Jeff Hardy has won the Bound for Glory series, so he will be facing Austin Aries for the world title tonight, and Hulk Hogan has made the tag match between Aces and Eights and Bully Ray and Sting, no DQ. And we also have, talking of changes, no longer the 6-sided ring. It is now this seemingly massive 4-sided ring. This thing is huge, like a swimming pool.
Yeah, it's like, should we increase the ringside area because we've lost a lot of ground there? No. Let's make the ringside area the narrowest it can be, so every dive will hit a guardrail.
Yeah, it's just this. It looks massive. This ring.
It's because of all the small people.
Is that all the vanilla midgets in there?
Well, no, it's a 20 by 20 foot ring. I didn't think it looked small.
Yeah. The next episode is in the Impact Zone. And I think maybe you'll look at it then and be like, that looks huge in the Impact Zone. And of course, we have got the walkway that James Storm told us on the podcast because Hulk Hogan's knees and hips would not allow him to walk up ring steps during tapings of TV. So they just built a ramp so he can just walk straight to the ring.
Just do a Sin Cara thing where you've got a little trampoline to hop in.
Yeah. But Lash Legend's got her own little one. She's got her own little step that she goes up to. Our opening contest for the X Division Championship is Rob Van Dam taking on the champion Zema Ion, who you know is a heel because he's spraying an aerosol into the air, harming the environment.
Yeah, well, isn't that hairspray? He's got massive... he's got huge hair.
He's got huge hair.
You might know him by his current WWE name, Whackin' Wild.
That's right, yeah. I actually forgot that he was Whacking Wild.
But I think WWE have as well.
Because here, his gimmick is he hurts people, but for real. Because he injured Jesse Sorensen and then he injured someone else as well. That's now his character. He's dangerous in the ring.
Yeah, never a good sign when that becomes part of your character.
Yeah.
It's like being like, oh yeah, my wife's cheating on me in storyline. It will happen in real life as well.
Taz, I like that he often talks about his history with Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, that is good.
And he said, it's really hard to put him down. But also, my other note I had here early on is the mics under the ring are so loud.
Well, it's because of the cavernous, giant, oversized ring. That was your first note, not... Oh, this is the music you should always come out to.
Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show. 5-star frog splash.
Great song. When TNA get music right, they get it right.
I will say, in fairness to you, everyone else has the exact same theme song, which is just broad strokes of like... There was a period of time when TNA had the best themes.
Yeah.
Like, they were all like, Jimmy Hart cut-offs, Dale Oliver's. Was it Dale Oliver? Was he the guy?
Oh, I can't remember.
It was Dale Oliver. A lot of his sort of like off-cuts that he would do. But at least everyone sounded different. The Monster Abyss's music sounded different to Raven, sounded different to AJ.
Kurt Angle's.
But like, I would say Kurt Angle and RVD and Sting and Hogan, actually. So all the legends, all like the actual superstars have got legit themes that sound like theirs. Christopher Daniels' song sounds like AJ's song. AJ's song sounds like Austin Aries' song. Bobby Roode is probably the only one that's maybe like he stands out amongst the mid-carders. RVD dicks Ion and then kicks him to the floor, and then there's a hell of a tornado DDT by Zema Ion. But then Ion does a monkey flip and then has this great drop kick right to the jaw of Rob Van Dam. But then RVD just hits the 5-star and wins.
Yes, you know that whole thing about near falls? We're not going to do any here. We're just going to have one heat segment. RVD makes his comeback and wins.
That's it. The match didn't build. There were some spots, and then RVD won.
Well, is this what it used to be like?
No, because we've watched TNA shows.
But no, what I mean is, I think this is quite a pre-2018 structure to a card, where the opener would just have a popular guy, some flips, but it would be ultimately quite short, and it would, you wouldn't do multiple false finishes because you would save those for the more important matches that come later in the card. But these days, ever since Roman started and Brock started putting their matches on first, we're now used to shows starting with one of the kind of main events.
Well, also, they don't really have an undercard anymore because you only do 5 matches. You basically just have 5 big matches, whereas it's a 10-match card. Matches go about 8 minutes until you get towards, apart from the street fight, you get towards the main events. So those matches go longer. Those are the ones that have near falls. So everything else is just matches on the card where you're not doing near falls and things like that. But even then, I feel like you still need to build to a finish.
Yeah.
Not just do a finish and then the match ends.
Feels very TV. This is like a very TV match to build to the title match on pay-per-view. And it is an X Division title match on Bound for Glory, the biggest show of the year. It's got Rob Van Dam
With
in.
a title change.
You would think it's more. Unless Van Dam's injured. I don't know.
We didn't even break it down with the X Factors. Like, how am I supposed to know what the story of this match is going in? Apart from this one lad really hurts people. There's no review from Vinny V because they were having technical issues, so they missed the opening portion of this show. But Dave Meltzer said the crowd was super hot for this one from the start. Some cool stuff, but they didn't seem to work together well. 2 stars. Jeremy Borash is backstage letting us know there's exclusive TNA content on Twitter and Facebook, so make sure you're getting in your hashtags because they're going to be reading all of your tweets throughout the night.
Use the hashtag TNABFG, which is already 7 of your then 140 characters.
They might have been 120 at this point as well, before they upped the
Is it
limit.
120?
Yeah, I think they upped the limit to 100. Or was it 140, then they upped it to 160?
Oh, is it? You're right, it's 120. Then did they go straight to 240?
I can't remember now.
Well, anyway, it's almost 10% of your character limit.
He then brings in Magnus to ask him a question that a fan has asked on Twitter.
Called Tony.
No, is it our Tony?
Can't.
Who says that, I can't remember what the question was now, but Magnus
is this the... It's how you know this was absolutely not a question asked on social media. Is this your biggest match of your career so far?
Could be. I've heard people ask that sort of things in media scrums.
In AEW media scrums, where they're not real questions.
Magnus says that he's going to become the new champion. He's now free of the political prison, and Samoa Joe cannot be protected by Hulk Hogan anymore.
This is the first of 2 references to there being politics behind the scenes in TNA. Mm-hmm. And, at the time, I'd have been like, oh, yeah, tell me about the real backstage drama. But now my view is, how unprofessional.
Airing your dirty laundry on screen. I've just got a quick clip here because this is one of the things that popped me the most from the whole show. A little bit of commentary from Tenay and Taz.
I would like to point out that all these gentlemen of the team that are ringing out for Christy Hemme look ravishingly, gorgeously, beautifully tonight. I think you're reading my notes. How about reading? You take notes? This way you take notes. I take notes. Anyway, I
digress.
Yeah, so that's an example of the anti-chemistry that Tenay has with most people. I like Tenay. He's not really a great play-by-play guy.
No, we've mentioned this before on TNA shows. He's the 3rd guy of a booth. He's the professor. He's the guy you go to for like some history and some analysis. But when he just says what's happening. He doesn't really give a lot of emotion. And then, sometimes he has to have banter with other people like their mates. It worked with Don.
Yes. Yeah, because Don was excellent.
Yeah.
And Don gives loads, but Taz is more laid back. Yeah, I never thought the dynamic worked particularly well. But Taz is great.
Yeah,
and
Taz.
He gave a whole segment of Botchamania from this run. But
I digress Jones right here.
Christy Hemme there. You do recognize her. She was the person who started the Knockouts division in TNA.
And look at her now.
With that really awkward angle with the Voodoo Kim Mafia.
Yep.
And now, 5 years later.
Get on my ring, you little slut.
She's doing ring intros. So it all came good. It's what she wanted.
I've written here, these 2 are former tag team champions, because why would you make Samoa Joe one of your top guys?
Samoa Joe is just out here getting a paycheck.
Right. I still cannot fathom he's a 1-time TNA world champion and he was not champion for that long.
Yeah.
That is staggering incompetence.
He was in the mix so much as well, and it always felt like, oh, he's in the mix because they're giving him the rub to be the next big thing, even though he already is kind of the big thing, for whatever reason.
It's just always, they only ever saw him as this level of guy. The TV champion, which was formerly the Legends Championship, which was also formerly the Global Championship. I think this is its 3rd or 4th rebrand.
By the way, where is Magnus from? Oh, yeah, look. Oh, you can put it on the big screen, yeah. There he is. He's coming along. What is that? What is that graphic? What is that graphic in the background?
Hello.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's a tube map.
Dun 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 dun. Magnus.
He's from not London.
At this point, rename him. Like the Magnus thing was because he was in the UK Gladiators.
Yeah.
That was his name there. Brutus Magnus.
Magnus, yeah.
Like playing some kind of Roman gladiator gimmick. Just got Nick Aldis. I'm from London.
It was even weirder because he was then tagging with, Doug Williams as the British Invasion. So if you were like Doug Williams and Nick Aldis, that works group. Doug Williams and Magnus is a really weird combination.
I agree. Rob Terry was the better tag partner for Doug.
Well, at least Rob Terry stood up to aces and eights.
Rob Terry. That's a great Cockney name.
Also,
because he's got 2 first names.
It is, but he's Welsh.
Well, yeah. Well, just shut up. Don't say anything, Rob Terry.
Joe is a Grand Slam champion at this point. A little bit of TNA rinky-dinkness, if I may. I've got to get to 1740 here. Use my good, incredible eyesight. Just listen here for the ring bell, which I think breaks.
Yes, we are live in Phoenix, Arizona. Pacific time here, Cal. Yeah, no, Pacific got it. East, West got it. Here we go. TV title, baby. Let's do it.
She put it down. We get a shot later on for here's the guest bell ringer, and I think it's a lady from a local radio station.
Radio lady,
she looks like she's been surprised with this thing that she's gonna do.
Because if you haven't seen the video version of this either, the referee does ask her about 3 times to ring the bell. Ring the bell.
So
ring the bell.
I think that's her ringing the bell and then putting the little metal stick back on the plate where the bell sits, but the bell's still ringing, giving that rattling effect.
Yeah. There is just something about a ring bell. We have one in the office, and if a guest comes in or a visitor comes to the office and they see it, you can bet dollars to donuts they will gravitate towards it and will give it a little ring.
It's impossible not to ring it. It's impossible not to roll some dice if you're in the No Rolls Barred studio. Just be talking to someone, and then the dice will be in their hand, and they'll just start rolling, picking them up, rolling. Yeah. But yeah, it is a weird... You'd think it would be easy to ring a bell. There is an actual technique to it. Yeah. And if you just hit it, it's the worst sounded. Clonk.
Clonk. Yeah.
But you need to kind of strike it from the side. Ding, ding, ding.
They tell us that Joe was doing really well in the Bound for Glory series, but Magnus used a chair on his arm, and that hurts his chances. So bear in mind, I'm watching the show for the first time. They tell me that about Samoa Joe. They're also going to tell me that about 3 other guys. Nearly won the Bound for Glory series. So still to this, I don't know who came close. Yeah. I just know that Jeff won.
People interfered a lot.
Yeah, they sure did. So instead, Hogan, as to say you're not going to win the Bound for Glory series, put him in a TV title match, and he won. So that's what Magnus is talking about when he's talking about how Hogan's protecting him.
Great Hogan matchmaking. A lot of the commentary does just keep putting over how great Hogan's matchmaking abilities is.
That's because he's there in Gorilla being you mentioned me again. They're going to forget I'm here. This is also not my favorite Samoa Joe look.
Brown.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Mohawk's one thing. It's the warrior shorts. This feels like a holdover of when he was Machete, penis on the face Joe. Whereas I think that his plain trunks, which is just like the 2-color trunks, is such a better look for him.
Or, and a bold color as well. Yeah, the brown trunks, or brown shorts rather, with gold trim.
Poop colored.
Yeah.
Joe can't get into second gear in this match because Magnus just keeps shutting him down. Because they were tag champs together, Magnus just knows what Joe's going to be doing next. But then Joe finally gets rolling with some signature spots. The crowd chants, "This is awesome," which I feel is a bit excessive.
Oh, yeah. They're not deserved. The next match definitely deserves it, but this was just... They're confusing with "This is awesome" with "We like Joe" in general.
I think it's because they were expecting to chant it during the first match with Zema Ion and Rob Van Dam, and they didn't. But all that pent-up energy was still there. So when Joe did a senton, they were like, "Whoa, this is awesome." It just exploded out of them. Big-time elbow drop by Magnus for a good near fall. Joe was transitioning into his various submissions. They do the Bret Hart submission pin spot where you run up the ropes and roll over. Magnus chop blocks it back down. He goes for the figure four, but Joe just drags him into the Kikina clutch for the win. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, again, a pretty quick match. I think the opening match was 6 minutes.
It might have been 8.
This was 10 minutes, was it? Or
No, it was about 8 or 9.
Bit shorter.
Again, I think. Maybe 10.
Yeah, again, it is the TV title, but it is a title match on Bound for Glory with Samoa Joe. Feels a lot like a TV match.
A lot of they in that opening, the second part of the opening video package that we didn't get to see through the YouTube version, it does feel like, they even said then that the thing with Bound for Glory is it's the culmination of the previous year's worth of storylines. And with Rob Van Dam and Zema Ion, that didn't feel like the culmination of a year-long storyline. This doesn't feel, even though they were former tag champions, this doesn't feel, or is given the time to tell a story, that's the culmination of a year-long storyline. The next match is.
Yeah.
The match we get after that isn't. Neither is the three-way tag match either. And that's kind of, I think, was what's missing from this as being Bound for Glory.
Yeah, the official times, Rob Van Dam beat Zema Ion in 8 minutes 4 seconds, and Joe beat Magnus in 9 minutes 15.
There you go. Dave Meltzer would say Joe had a good... Okay, so there's an unfortunate typo. I don't know if you can call it a typo. I think he accidentally pasted something twice from his notes when he's doing the digital version of the newsletter, but it makes it sound funnier when you read it out. Joe had a good match here. Magnus has a lot of positives between his size, look, physique, and talking. He's not bad in the ring, but he's not there yet as a single. Joe had a good match here. 2 3/4 stars.
The classic Joe sandwich. Magnus sandwich with Joe bread.
And Vinny V pops in to say, saw about 5 minutes of this and it was really good, which means he actually saw broadly most of the match. Borash then brings in Bobby Roode for an interview about his match that is 1 year in the making. At the last year's Bound for Glory, it was Bobby Roode's time. We talked about this on the podcast with James Storm. The story was, we're building Bobby to win the title, and they're going to split up beer money and then do some stuff with Bobby and James afterwards. But then they changed their minds. And Bobby did not win at Bound for Glory. I was so shocked the following day. Stunned that he did not win. Kurt Angle retained. And then James Storm beat Kurt Angle on TV. And then Bobby Roode, about a week or so later, beat James Storm to win the TNA World title. And then
By cheating and turning heel.
And then they have their program, and that is going to lead to this match here. So this really is 1 year in the making, which is why a lot of fans at this time really felt like this should have been the program for the world title.
And there's an argument for it, definitely. I don't know if but who knows, that you could have pushed them and focused on them over that year to make it feel like, we're not going to have the biggest business year, but we are building these two guys to be our next central forever feuders. So the year after that should hopefully be bigger, and these guys will have more value in the fans' eyes. But that initial angle, we spoke about it with James. It's one of the more inspired last-minute changes there's ever been in wrestling. I think it's an incredible storyline.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And I think you're right. We talked about this with Heyman during the last series as well. Heyman possibly coming in, and his whole thing was like, we're not going to do any business for a year, but I'm going to build a lot of foundations to build up a lot of guys. And TNA were like, no, we need quick fixes now. So I guess that's why they're going with Jeff, because Jeff's the merchandise seller, Jeff's the big on the house shows. It should be him as the top guy. But you watch the TV show, maybe it's just Impact Zone, but in the Impact Zone, man, James Storm is over. Yeah. And he's over on this show as well. Like, this crowd are super into James Storm.
And Bobby is such a good heel. Yeah. And they've got this kind of year-long, even if it's in segments where they're not in it together, they are throwing shots at each other. We saw it in the Aces and Eights bit. Bobby comes out like, look, I'll tell you who the guy who's leading this faction is. It's James Storm. When there's, that's a big reach, and Storm comes out and they brawl. It's a great feud that should have been treated better, and from my memory had gone off the boil quite a bit in the last 4 months, because they had a series of matches and then a break. I think maybe Storm took time off, and now they do their separate journeys in the Bound for Glory series. Bobby Roode costs Storm, and that's why they're having this match here.
With King Mo as the special guest enforcer. He also points out that Storm's never beaten him. And he said he took his ball and he went home. Tonight he's going to send him home permanently, which does bring us into James Storm versus Bobby Roode in a street fight with King Mo as the, not special guest referee, Mike Tyson role of guest enforcer.
Yeah, it's a weird role to have in a street fight, don't you think? Because where do you draw the line?
Yeah, Vinny V has a joke. I'm actually going to read Vinny V's joke about this when he gets to it later on. Where is it? Mo was the special enforcer standing at ringside. This was a street fight, which means no rules, so I'm not sure what Mo was there to enforce. Maybe he was there to ensure that they broke the rules.
Well, I think really he's just there to be the referee's bodyguard.
Well, I'll get into why Mo is there later on. Because
A buy rate?
Meltzer's going to report as to why King Mo is part of this match. Because Mo actually doesn't really have much of a spot in this match. But we'll get to him in a little bit, because at the start, they both sort of get in the face of Mo.
Sorry, can I just give you a few bits more of the video package? This means nothing, but the product's My Damage. He gets a little music credit at the bottom. The productrock.com, which is their website, no longer active. Oh, man. So that's sad to see. But then also the video package is James Storm promos, Bobby Roode promos, and then one promo as a talking head from Argel Dixie. It's just like Beer Money were one of the greatest tag teams in TNA history.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? Can't you get a talking head from Chris Harris or Eric Young?
Wouldn't it would make sense if she had thought about all of the matches. So in all of the video packages, she is explaining what their importance is to TNA in the past year as the president of TNA Wrestling.
You're totally right. The answer is more Dixie Carter on this show.
Look, if I was in TNA at this point, I probably would have got a promotion for that idea. I'm just going to say it off the bat. I thought this match was awesome.
Great match.
And
we're not just saying that because James Storm's our best friend now.
This is one of the few matches of this show I had seen previously. So I already knew this was good going in. But actually, watching it back, it's so much better than I remember it being. Really good brawl to start. Roode gets in the face of King Mo, as does James Storm. That's pretty much the extent of the King Mo stuff. But he's not there to make friends. Storm teases the Eye of the Storm through the announce table, but Roode gets out of that and throws Storm into the post, and Storm is busted open.
Yeah, he blades an absolute gusher.
Sure does.
Like some people, they blade and it's a lot initially, but then in 5 minutes it kind of dries up. This just keeps bleeding.
It just keeps going. Roode grabs a chair. We want tables chant, which I thought was more of a modern phenomenon, but here it is in 2012. Storm then uses a kendo stick, and he uses one as like a golf swing into a trash can right into Roode's bobby. It's very, really good.
I really like Storm's selling of this, because we actually are quite early on in the match, but just the way he's bleeding, the weapons, and it's him staggering around because of the blood loss, I presume. It makes it feel like we're already 15 minutes into an all-time war. But when he does that kendo stick shot, he kind of stumbles and he falls over. Yeah, selling even when you're doing offense makes it really, really believable.
And what's going to shut him down and stop all that fun is the draping DDT onto the walkway. He is bleeding, man. He grabs a crutch from a fan and uses it, which the fan absolutely loved. They batter each other with lids. Storm charges at Roode, but Roode hits this double A spine buster on the ramp. Oof. Should note as well, we haven't mentioned it yet, the announce table is a weird announce table. It's got like this plexiglass top to it.
Yeah, it looks quite low rent. It looks like both. It would have been better off to just use a normal table.
Yeah. Roode spears Storm off that table through the Spanish announce table. Mo stops Bobby Roode from attacking Earl Hebner, and then he pushes Roode into a code breaker. Last call, but Roode kicks out. Amazing near fall.
Yeah, let's get a look at that code breaker cell. Where are we going to? 46-32. Oh no!
Oh, there it is. He's got it. Nope,
that's
not that
not
one.
Oh no! Help me, Luke.
Here he comes to
help
save
me,
the
Luke.
day. I saved everyone.
46. It better be good. It will be good. It's like Shawn Michaels wrestling Hulk Hogan.
That's off the table. Then we're going to get the King Mo stuff. Here we go.
This is King Mo's only interaction in the whole match. But watch this. Yeah, boom. And he manages to fall at the right angle to not hit the referee.
Yep. Beautiful. Well done, Bobby. Roode then gets... so they get the last call for the near fall. He goes to get another chair, but Roode... He goes for another super kick, rather, but Roode dodges that and throws him into a chair in the corner for another good near fall, because he hooked the tights on that one as well.
There's a Let's Go Cowboy chant. And I just thought, Hangman.
Yeah.
It's the proto-Hangman.
Roode gets another chair, but that's not actually what he was looking for. He was under the ring for ages looking for something, realized it was not at that bit of the ring. So instead just grabs a chair, like little dink, to be like, yeah, no, I meant to do that. It was totally on purpose. Then he goes to get a bag that is full of tacks.
Which is just shows how good a worker Bobby is. But if you just put the thing on the screen again, can you see the weapon in the extreme bottom right? Under the ropes.
It's a cheese grater.
It's a cheese grater.
Yeah, that doesn't come into play at all.
No, not at all. I only saw it when Bobby was trying to get the chair from that side.
Where did it come from?
I don't know. That's the first time I noticed it.
Unless, of course, that's also been cut off the the YouTube broadcast. Low blow by Bobby Roode. And then... actually, we missed one of the big spots, actually. So it's with the tacks. Storm fights him off, and then he pushes him off the middle rope, and Storm lands into the tacks, and he lands in these tacks. And Storm even hits an elbow drop into Bobby Roode while he's on the tacks for a great near fall. Roode, at this point, not only has he got tacks in his butt, he has got tacks in the back of his head.
Yeah.
Like, you can see them in his hair.
When he rolls up, yeah, it's all over there. But he's got so many tacks in his bum.
Yeah.
Which is what I was more obsessed with.
And now we get to what a lot of this story has been built around. The beer bottle. This is what Roode used to turn heel on James Storm, cracked him in the head with that beer bottle. And he gets when he goes to use it, but Storm hits a low blow of his own, and he cracks it over Bobby Roode's head instead. Last call into the tacks. Storm wins.
Really great match.
Awesome match.
I mean, best match on the show.
Easily, yeah.
Actually. So just like in a what-if universe, I suppose you would have done the whole year where Bobby Roode beats James Storm last year for the title by turning heel and cheating. And then you can do the whole year of Bobby Roode going on this year-long title reign. Mm-hmm. He has a few matches with Storm, but beats him again and again via cheating. And here is the Bound for Glory payoff, where James Storm recaptures the World Heavyweight title by using the poetic revenge of the beer bottle.
Yeah. And I love that story. It's unfortunately not the one we get.
Usually, when you do the thing of, the babyface is always trying to get the title, and then they win it, but they actually have an incredibly short reign, like maybe even a Money in the Bank 5-minute cash-in reign, and then you build to the bigger title win later. Usually I don't like that, because I'm like, well, you just save off the big final win for the big final moment. Have them get screwed before they win the title for that short amount of time. I think it would have worked with the James Storm Bobby Roode angle, because we never thought James Storm was going to win that title initially.
Not at all. No disrespect to James Storm, and I think you can probably see it when we did that podcast interview with him. But the way that TNA always presented him was he's the other guy in the tag team. And I'd mean this with all due respect. He was the Jannetty. That's not James Storm as a person or as a wrestler. That is how he was always presented by AEW. Chris Harris was the star of, and that's why, James even says, the whole structure of their matches was he got worked over so Chris Harris could do the hot tag.
And he told us that actually TNA didn't even tell him when America's Most Wanted were breaking up.
No.
Because it was all to push Harris didn't tell Storm in advance.
And the same with Bobby Roode. They always eyed Bobby Roode as being one of their top guys. So beer money was almost a way to get Bobby Roode over. So James Storm, I never thought when I was a huge fan of TNA in 2005 that James Storm would win the World Heavyweight Championship. But I mean, it's great that he did, even if it was for that brief cup of coffee that he had it for. I loved that match, though. I thought it was absolutely awesome.
This really should be, if TNA were properly long-term building for the long-term future, this should be James Storm becoming a 2-time world champion.
Should be. Dave Meltzer said, after all the build and push for Mo, he did nothing here. They didn't even do the obligatory ref bump where Mo would come in and take over like you do in every match with the second ref on the outside. It's clear they don't trust Mo to do anything. It came across to me like Spike, Bjorn Rebney and Dixie Carter made this deal as part of getting Mo on TV, but the creative isn't sold him at all and don't let him do anything. He was wide-eyed and looking shocked at all the weapon shots and the blood. Crowd gave him very little reaction when he came out, but why would they, considering they've done nothing effective to promote him? Also, the feeling was they didn't need to do a ref bump because of the feeling of the year of feuding that Storm needs to win clean, and you don't want any silliness with the finish. 3.5 stars.
Oh, that is at least 4 stars.
Agreed.
But yeah, the King Mo stuff. So he was a Bellator fighter.
Yeah.
Which was the sort of... I mean, they did have a much bigger name back then. They were the AEW to UFC's WWE, let's say. But yeah, they were never massively popular.
They was also on Spike as well. That's like why they were always having that relationship between the two. Vinny V would write, hell of a match, a legit bloody finish to a legit blood feud. If this had been Storm winning the world title in the main event, it would have been a great, it would have been the great pay-per-view finish of the year, but things didn't work out that way. 3 3/4 stars.
Okay, well, that's closer. I mean, I'd give it 4 1/4.
Me too. Jeremy Borash is backstage with, oh no, it's Joey Ryan. That's my notes here.
Look, it's 2012. There's been a lot of cancellations since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is early Joey Ryan. He was doing PWG stuff. Joey Ryan, one of those not founding, but very early roster members of AEW.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
He was on All In.
He was on All In.
He was Hangman Page's match. He beat Hangman Page, right? At All In?
I think so, because he had all of the dick druids.
Yeah, and he had Penelope Ford.
And he came back from the dead. Because the story on Being the Elite was who murdered Joey Ryan, if I remember correctly. And then he came back with all the dick druids.
Yeah, because Hangman Page kept seeing Joey Ryan's boots, and they would talk to him. I can't believe I ever thought All In was going to be this New Japan style sports presentation product.
Well, it wasn't the Kenny match. But yeah, Joey Ryan is here. He was on Gut Check, and he nearly won, and he feels like he should have won. The crowd did want him to win. The internet responded that he should win his Gut Check, but TNA and the judges of Gut Check decided, no, we're not going to put you in. Taz was the deciding vote in the end. You lost 2 votes to 1. So here he is having a feud with Al Snow, who is one of the TNA blokes, where if he wins, he will get a contract with TNA Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, so Gut Check was something that they brought to TV of this year. And the idea was, you're an indie wrestler, you come in, you wrestle one of our roster, and usually you'd lose, but the judges would give a vote, and if it was 2 out of 3 votes for yes, you would get a contract in that moment. It started off as Al Snow, Bruce Pritchard, and Ric Flair, but then Ric Flair has gone by this point?
Yeah, we'll come on to Flair later.
Right, okay.
Flair accidentally got someone a job.
Wow.
So
how do you do that?
Well, because he was supposed to vote no on a guy, but he was genuinely so impressed with his match, he said yes. So
That's amazing.
So the guy got a job, and then I think they released him like a couple of months later. But
it's a work.
He accidentally got someone a job.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, of the first 4 people to compete in Gut Check over these months, Alex Silver never went on to do anything.
Not as Alex Silver as Silver and Reynolds.
No, not that one.
No.
Taylor Hendricks, who would go on to do stuff. She was I'm pretty sure she was part of Jay Lethal's Truth Martini Act, and Sam Shaw, who we've already covered as Dexter Loomis. But like the second or third one of those was Joey Ryan. And Al Snow was the only one who voted yes.
Yeah.
But was it a shoot then?
No, it was a work.
No, it was a work.
It was a work, but yeah, like Wes Briscoe, we'll come on to this in the next episode. He wins his gut check challenge. Not only does he like get signed, but he wins his match as well. And he becomes like an Angle protege. But yeah, this was always a work. But they would eventually like you do this enough till someone actually like you are going to sign and you push them. And that probably was Joey Ryan. Like you do the storyline where he then has a match with Al Snow to get a contract with TNA Wrestling. It does lead us into Joey Ryan versus Al Snow. And it is a really weird dynamic of a match because Joey is the heel. Al Snow is the babyface. But the story is the crowd like Joey Ryan and want to see him win, but he's the heel. And TNA don't want to sign him. And they're the baby faces.
Yeah. But the crowd have been kind of booing Al Snow, even though, remember, he was the one guy who voted yes for Joey Ryan, but they also want to cheer him because head.
Well, I'm talking more about like the concept of TNA. TNA are the baby faces in this storyline because they are going against their heel Joey Ryan. But the story is also, but the crowd want Joey Ryan to win, which makes TNA the bad guys in this because they're denying the fans what they want.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to be a rocket surgeon to figure this stuff out when you're writing it down on paper. No. But, you know, these guys, they were in business for a lot longer than I will ever be.
What's your views on Al Snow?
I was an Al Snow guy back in the day because I thought Head was very funny. I thought the gimmick was really good. I liked the music. What does everybody want? So, I liked Head Cheese, him and Blackman. I've never heard a good thing said about Al Snow is what I would say since is anytime I've seen him do interviews or I have spoken to people that have met Al Snow, they've all said he's a bit of a knob.
Even, I don't know anything about that stuff, but just how he's portrayed. He was an undercarder, hardcore guy in WWF, and not really anything in ECW either. He just had the fun head gimmick, a comedy guy. Yeah, everyone keeps trying to tell me that he's now the most serious, best trainer and wrestling mind of his generation. That Netflix series, it's called The Wrestlers, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one that follows him down in OVW.
OVW, yeah.
And the documentary's like, wow, it's Al Snow. Wow. He has forgotten more about wrestling than you will ever learn.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it. And I was even like, when we were preparing for this, I thought, well, maybe he is a good trainer. Because it was, like Matt Bloom, right? He was Prince Albert in the Attitude Era. He was Lord Tensai. Hardly this great wrestling success story, but by all accounts, great wrestling trainer in NXT. And Taz in this match says, well, Al Snow does a lot of the training of people. And I tried to find someone trained by Al Snow who's gone on to be something. The best I could find was, I don't know, John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, because OVW. But I'm pretty sure that article got it wrong.
Yeah, because
he wasn't there at that time.
No.
So I don't know. Why do everyone...
That's the story you're telling here, though, right? Like, if he is one of TNA's trainers, you've got to put him over as like... It's the same with, like, Tough Enough.
Oh, yes,
when it was because it's Taz was one of the lead, trainers in Tough Enough. They have to put over that Taz is like... But in WWF, Taz was like a guy that got eliminated in 20 seconds in the Royal Rumble. Like, he was a nobody in WWF. But then now to be like, oh, but is he... what a great trainer he is, though.
Well, I guess it's more about the now Al Snow agenda. It's just because, some people I know who don't watch wrestling have watched The Wrestlers because they just seem to watch every reality show that Netflix puts out. And they're like, wow, Al Snow, what a mind. I'm like, I don't think so.
But, shout out to this crowd. As Meltzer said earlier, it seemed to be made up a lot of older wrestling fans in their 30s who were big fans of the Attitude Era because they are super into seeing Al Snow wrestle and want to see... And Al Snow is doing the head motion, but he hasn't got the mannequin head with him. So it's like the graphics forgot to load in what he was holding on to. Joey's trunks have the old Twitter logo on them as well, just to really place you in the time that we're in. Al does some mat wrestling. The crowds chant, "You still got it." Joey gets the heat. Taz talks about how he was the one to say the final no, but that's because he was wrestling like a slug. These are words that Taz used. Like, he was wrestling like a slug in that match. If he was wrestling like he was now, I probably would have said yes to him. Snowplow, Ryan kicks out of that. The crowd chant for head. Taz calls them horny. And then Al Snow gets head from under the ring. Referee stops him from using it, obviously. And then Ryan shoves Snow into the ref. Ryan kisses head. Snow then traps Ryan in the ring apron. And who should interfere on Joey Ryan's behalf? Check your watches, everyone. Ding. It's elevator time. Matt Morgan returns to TNA.
Crowd weren't the only one that were horny at this point, because this guy, if I could take this guy's DNA, make a clone of him, a female clone of him, and then I was also Matt Morgan, I would bone myself. I also notice in all this the referee's name, Stifler.
Yes.
Brian Stifler.
Brian Stifler.
Just
Startling,
enjoyed that.
Startling fact I learned recently is that Stifler's mum is around 40 years old in the first American Pie movie. Which means that this year I will be the same age as Stifler's mum.
And just as hot.
I mean, I'm already older than Homer Simpson.
Yeah?
Yeah, because Homer Simpson's 38.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't want to know Homer Simpson's age. How old's Marge?
I think she's 36.
Damn.
So anyway, Matt Morgan returns.
When she puts her hair down, though, there is not a man alive.
Yeah, and he's back. He's got new tats, including one really terrible one on his back. So you looked at Brock Lesnar getting that sword tattoo and was like, I mean, I could get one worse. Ryan pins Snow. Morgan and Ryan shake hands afterwards. They're a brand new tag act.
Yeah, Joey Ryan, the loudmouth, the new social media guy, and the enforcer.
Yeah. Dave Meltzer would say Snow looked good in what he did. Ryan did his role well, but people didn't really care about this angle. 1 star.
Oh, yeah, that's rough going for a 1 star. I don't think it was 1 star. More 2 star.
Vinny V said, I love that this guy wants to be in TNA so bad. When he gets a chance to compete, he's afraid to fight Al Snow. I started to zone out right when he when he said he had rock star charisma. That made me laugh. This was like a drama student who'd spent all night memorizing his lines and the mechanical motions of clear speech, but never learned how to sound believable or memorable. Snow must have sold his gear at a convention or something because he was wearing a tank top and track pants. Taz was making jokes about how old Al was as Al destroyed Joey like Ryan was a fan or something. So yeah, what we got after a blood feud finish here on pay-per-view was this Al Snow squash match, 1/2 star.
Yeah, I don't really know what you know how you were saying it's a weird story to book because you make the promotion feel like they're heels, and this heel is kind of the outsider underdog babyface that you want to cheer for, but he is very off-putting. Yeah, so surely the idea is to have him be a star coming out of this. It feels like TNA are begrudgingly signing this guy.
I guess I get that feeling too.
Which is the story, I guess. But it also feels like legit that's what's happening. They don't value him as a wrestler or a performer. It feels like they just want him to be Matt Morgan's mouthpiece.
Yeah, and now he's got, I think what they've got is a guy who's got a good social media game. So, now they can take advantage of that.
Please teach us how to use it.
In case we keep getting hacked. Borash interviews Bad Influence, who aren't called Bad Influence at this point, but they do refer to themselves as a bad influence within this promo. And they talk about Twitter. Daniels cuts a great promo. Vinny V writes here, trust me, it was great. These men must be a heel team until the end of time.
Look, we've spoken about Bully Ray. One of the other big standout things of this time, Bad Influence are the best tag team in wrestling.
Of the few times that I did tune into TNA, Daniel's doing his little strut down to the ring with his Appletini. Incredible.
I forgot about the Appletini.
Yeah.
And then he starts cutting the promo and he's got the Appletini cocktail glass in his hand. It's bright green.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all these memories started flooding back the Appletini. We'd have drinks. We'd go out. Me and Dan would get Appletinis because of this. Horrible drink. Way too sweet. But we drunk it for the gimmick.
Yeah.
But I love Chris Daniels. We both do. I never loved his character.
Oh, the Fallen Angel. I loved the Fallen Angel.
Not really, and the promos were just... But this is the best promo. This is the best character promo he's ever, sort of had in his career for me. The Bad Influence stuff. Kaz as well.
Yeah.
Kaz is a bit one-dimensional by himself on the mic. Great wrestler.
Particularly as a babyface.
But here, he's not as good as Daniels, but they both bring out the best in each other in this act.
And when they then get into the ring together as well, because Kazarian was always awesome, but there's something about the partnership with Daniels really elevates what Kazarian is doing. They have that ladder war in Ring of Honor where it's them versus the Bucks versus the Machine Guns. And it's incredible. It's so great. I really, really like these guys as a tag act. And Vinny V doesn't know it here in 2012, but he will get his wish, because they will be a tag team pretty much until the end of time. It leads us into our tag team championship match as the champions, Bad Influence, defend against AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, and not LAX, Hernandez and Chavo Guerrero Jr.
It's not LAX. It's not the Guerreros. It's the other guys in those teams.
So Kurt thinks that he and AJ are the greatest tag team of all time. Steady on, mate.
Well... you could say they are the two greatest single stars in a tag team.
They're former faction mates. They were part of. Were they Team Angle, or were they?
Oh, were they?
Yeah, when AJ he was a comedy lackey for Angle. Remember, he was a comedy Angle for Christian. Then he turned on Christian and joined Angle.
You're right. Yeah. Oh my God. The Joe versus Angle feud. This is far removed from that.
Yeah. They also keep calling Hernandez Sean during and I was like, oh, they've renamed him Sean Hernandez. Nope. They just kept calling him Sean in the promo package.
It's realism.
We do get to break this one down with the taglines though. So if you're unclear of what the story is here, 2 teams earn a title shot. So independently, 2 teams won a number 1 contendership. Hulk Hogan calls for triple threat. On booking 2 singular number 1 contenderships, it's like, oh no, brother, know what we're going to do. Triple threat tag match. Champs drive wedge. And now Bad Influence are trying to sow dissension between these singles guys who are coming together as tag team wrestlers.
In the actual match, Mike Tenay says, I just want to again put over Hogan's genius here by making this a triple threat. Hogan was the problem in booking those 2 number 1 contenders matches.
Yep. Also, we see Wes Briscoe at ringside as well, who will become a big part of this story with Kurt Angle, and he looks like a young Kenny Omega there at ringside. They also note as well on commentary that all the teams have come out together with the exception of Angle and AJ. So they've got the real can they coexist story going on here. The other story of this is that if Kurt Angle's in the ring, he's winning.
Yeah.
If Kurt Angle gets in, he just beats up everyone who's there. Then he is forced to tag out and stand on the ring apron while the others work over each other. Then Kurt Angle tags back in and beats everyone up again.
A lot of Germans. A lot of Germans, Olympic slams and ankle locks. I do feel, though, this is at the tail end of Angle in the ring. You can say this is 2012. This is 3 years removed from the end of that Angle Joe series. And it's been a long 3 years for Kurt's body. Just the way he's moving. It's still really good stuff, but he's just missing that snap.
Yeah.
And he would go on to wrestle in the independents, but he's not long for TNA, is he? Next couple of years he goes, and then he's retired.
In 2019.
Yeah, but he's, he is not in ring for a long part of that WWE run.
No. You part of the Shield for a little bit.
Great tag match with Ronda Rousey.
One of my favorite WrestleMania matches. It genuinely is legit one of my favorite Triple H matches ever. Yeah. Love that match. And because people will say, you just hate Triple H. Triple H is awesome in that match.
He knows his role.
Yeah.
One comparison I had, I'm sure you were going to say it anyway. This feels very Survivor Series 02.
In the sense of,
that was Angle and Benoit, two singles guys put together.
Yeah, it's Edge and Ray.
And it's the Guerreros.
Oh yeah,
it's a triple threat tag match which has Chavo Guerrero and Kurt Angle in.
It's a good observation.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were leaning into here.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that at all. But yeah, you're probably right.
Because the Guerreros won that match, and it's Hernandez and Chavo who win here as well.
So Angle dominates, but Daniels blind tags himself in. So Angle throws Daniels into his own corner so AJ can tag back in, which I thought was really funny. Angle gets back in, but he's tagged out almost immediately. Daniels and AJ have a special kind of magic. Patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Next episode is advertised as the last ever match between Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles. AJ gets monkey flip, manages not to get hit by LAX in their corner. Pele kick. He tags into Angle, who runs wild. Angle suplexes Kaz into Daniels. Everyone gets in and does moves. Supermix flies into Christopher Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Kaz does this Hurricane Rana, but he just slips and falls. I have no idea what happened there. But the commentator's like, I think he broke his shoulder. But I guess he's fine because he then catches AJ Styles doing a dive.
Oh, is this when he does the Hurricane Rana to the outside? Like he jumps off the top turnbuckle? Yeah, that looked nasty.
Landed horribly. BME by Daniels, but AJ kicks out. AJ blocks the Angel's wings and hits a moonsault Russian leg sweep. And then we get like a reverse DDT, isn't it? Border toss into a frog splash, and they win.
Yeah, I felt like Hernandez got slightly booed when he was doing that border toss.
Yeah.
Hernandez could have been one of those big breakout guys, and here he is in exactly the same position 3 years later.
Is it a case of don't trust him in the ring? Is it a case of too afraid to pull the trigger on a new guy when you've got people like a Jeff Hardy or a Rob Van Dam you'd rather lean your hat on?
I think because he had the size, I just think he never got good enough in the ring.
To do a singles run. Yeah, maybe you're right. Dave Meltzer gave it 4 stars.
I mean, it was real. The quality of the work was really high. Like you got Kurt, Daniels, AJ, Kaz, and Chavo in there with Hernandez. So for Dave's tastes, I can see that. But it was a very good tag match.
But compared to the blood feud between Storm and Roode earlier,
that's off.
Yeah, 4 stars from Dave, which I completely disagree with. I thought it was good, but it's not 4 stars good. And Vinny V would say match was really good for about 3 minutes, but those 3 minutes were in the middle of a 10-minute affair. 2 3/4 stars.
Oh, 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah.
Well, that's too much the other way.
Yeah, I probably would have gone 3 1/4 maybe.
3.5.
Yeah. Up next for the Knockouts Championship, it is Tara versus the champion. And I would never have guessed in 1,000 years that she was ever a former Knockouts champion. Miss Tessmacher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were obviously not watching at this time then.
No.
Yeah. This was a big thing.
Brooke Adams.
Yeah.
Was a Knockouts champion. The assistant to Eric Bischoff became the Knockouts champion.
Yeah.
Because she won Reader of the Year once, I guess.
The bum.
Because
people love the bum.
What happened to this division? This division
I did write that. I mean, Tara's excellent.
Awesome.
I always think Tara she got there just a little bit too late. You know, you already had the sort of Awesome Kong, Gail Kim stuff before she came in.
Yeah.
But I think Tara's fantastic. Lisa, we did a Quizlemania with her once.
Yeah.
Lisa Marie Veron. So yeah, she's still in there. But the rest of the division is, Madison Rayne. She's not as good as the others. She's good, but she's not as good as the others.
She was the not as good member of the Beautiful People.
Yeah.
A team made up of Angelina Love and Velvet Sky.
Taryn Terrell, good, but not great. Miss Tessmacher, that you've already said. Brooke Hogan is the leader of the division. This does feel like Hogan and Bischoff pushing the great Knockouts division from characters who do not look like models. They look like people who could beat people up into that more model mold.
Yeah. Because it's so successful in WWE for the Divas thing.
Was it successful though?
No.
Or was it just
No,
you're being sarcastic.
I'm being sarcastic. In the same way that I also noticed when watching this show that if you are a camera around ringside, you do the zoom. So if a move hits, you zoom in to do the move. It's the Kevin Dunn school of directing, which makes me think that they have watched a WWE show and be like, oh, that's how you shoot wrestling now. We'll just copy that. Not knowing, or not realizing, it's a dog shit way of filming professional wrestling. So big storylines here for the Knockouts division are, well, there's 3, I guess, is that Tessmacher was a student of Tara, and she won the title from Tara.
Oh, I can't remember.
I think she did. So she wins it. So the student has beaten the master here. So now it's the master going back after the students. But we also have Brooke Hogan is the general manager of the Knockouts division, and all Knockouts matches are refereed by former WWE star and wife of Drew McIntyre, the former Tiffany, Taryn Terrell. It's not a special guest referee match. She's just always the referee for Knockouts matches.
Yeah. It makes total sense.
Can you not fill in for me?
I actually can't remember why this was. I just thought she was there for friendship reasons. Taryn Terrell.
Well, she's there for pretty reasons, right? It's because, you can put her in the skimpy referee outfit.
Knockouts referee. Okay, I'm on the Wikipedia page. Yeah, so she was made the special guest referee for Madison Rayne and Miss Tessmacher, and then she became the official referee for the Knockouts division. So she only made her debut in August. She was introduced by Brooke Hogan as the special guest referee, and then she became, the referee. So she was...
That's it.
And then she feuded with Gail Kim from January after making a bad call in the gauntlet match.
Oh, no. We'll see some of that when we
Yeah.
get into our future
Right.
episodes.
But Taryn Terrell, in the next couple of years, would become a pretty decent wrestler for the Knockouts.
Yeah. Well, Brian and Vinny used to love Tiffany because she was so bad on the mic, and she was the general manager of ECW. So they were like, oh, man, I just want more Tiffany segments where she's awful at this. I think I was going to say about...
So when we did the Nexus storyline, that was late 2010. Isn't that when Taryn Terrell gets released?
Yes, we went through the hotel argument that she had with Drew.
So 2 years later, TNA are like, let's bring in Tiffany.
Let's snap her up. So this match is, we've got Jennifer Larson as the guest referee, the guest bell ringer.
Can we see how confused she is when the camera cuts to her? Skip.
And
That
cut.
match is lame.
Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say about Miss Tessmacher while you are just searching for this. Do you know what Tessmacher's a reference to?
Oh, I don't know.
Superman. It was the name of Lex Luthor's assistant in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies.
Oh, okay.
He had Miss Tessmacher. And so, that's what Eric Bischoff named her after, was Lex Luthor's assistant.
And so Bischoff saw himself as a Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Nice. Also, we should say that Tara has been hinting that she has a very huge star in Hollywood as her boyfriend.
That is the fourth story I meant to mention, yes, when we're talking about this recap package. Yeah, she's got a Hollywood boyfriend. And the other fifth thing we should mention as well is that the stars of British Boot Camp are seen at ringside.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get into that. But first, here is this person is a professional broadcaster, apparently.
Jennifer Larson, yep.
Do you know her, or did you just read the thing?
No, that's what they named her as.
Deer in the headlights.
That is a look of, you're going to let me know when you cut to me, right? You're going to let me know? Is it now?
Yeah, shall I ring the bell? Where shall I look?
Awesome, ring it! Ring it! Hit it! There you go.
Does Taz laugh?
Ring it!
That gets bell ringer from KSLX 100.7 Classic Rock. Awesome, ring it! Ring it! Hit it! There you go.
He does laugh a bit. From KSLXL 5109.x2.
I love American radio stations.
Classic rock.
Exactly. Here in the UK, it is just XFM.
Heart radio.
Yeah, Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio 90s. That is it. It's like
Radio 1.
Yeah.
That's the simplest one we've got.
Radio 2. They really shook it up with Radio 5 Live.
Yeah. Radio 3 Extra. Whatever, she's there. Look, you're right though. Just look at this image. This doesn't feel like the Knockouts division of Awesome, Kong, and ODB.
Sorry, I'm going to read you because Vinny V's got a review here where he says, I haven't got review. He hasn't got a review of the match, but what he does right here. They introduce some absolute Z-grade celebrities at ringside, 4 English people I've never heard of, and a Phoenix radio person. Then the match began with Tessmacher's robe draped over the ropes right in front of the hard camera. What a rinky-dink company.
Yeah, should we talk about British Boot Camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the people they're shown in the crowd. This is Marty Skull. It's Rockstar Spud, who would go on to be Drake Maverick in WWE, and the Blossom Twins.
Forgot all about the Blossom Twins.
I feel like if you're twins and you get into wrestling, every promoter's like,
Money.
I'm gonna book you.
Yeah, I'm gonna book you.
And I met them quite a few times. They had no charisma.
No.
But they looked exactly the same. And I guess when you've got no charisma, but you look exactly the same, you're going to get a lot of work.
I mean, like, work for the Bellas.
Yeah. You're actually right. But they have charisma.
I think they have now got a successful podcast where they just talk to each other. I don't think you really need to have a lot of charisma to just talk at each other like your brother and sister, or you're just sisters.
Maybe people have told me that they have charisma so much. It's just become ingrained in me.
That's what it is.
Well, they have charisma.
Yeah.
So this is British Boot Camp. This is stuff that was starting up while I was working with Wrestle Talk.
Yeah.
The idea was Jeremy Borash would come over and it would be a sort of, let's find the next big star for wrestling from Britain, because Britain was having a quite thriving re-emerging scene with Progress starting the year earlier, Rev Pro's up and running.
But also on top of that, you've got TNA. Sorry, don't cut you off there. TNA's huge here in the UK.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Because of that free TV exposure. And like I remember there were so many good pitches for that show, as in what a reality wrestling show would look like as a sort of genuine. It's like The Apprentice, and you do wrestling trials of people. So I guess more like Tough Enough, but adapted to the X Factor modern day presentation. But they just went goofy. It was like doing a salt course in
NXT.
the mud. Yeah, but it was like filmed on location. It's just like such a disappointment.
The only thing I really know about British Boot Camp, sort of like behind the scenes story of it, 'cause obviously I wasn't here at this point, was because it was all Borash. Like, there was no, like, Bischoff and Hogan weren't really giving anything to this. It was all Jeremy Borash, to the point where he was editing it as well.
Yeah.
He would edit the show on the plane ride home from Britain back to America, so it was ready to show people at TNA, oh, here's what we've done. Like it was a real passion project for him, or rather it was something that he was given and was like, make this work.
And that is like Borash. He will do his very best to make it work. Who knows if it was his creative vision or not, but the creative vision was not what this audience or wrestling needed in 2012.
It's also, a testament, and you can see how he has made such a name for himself, because he's in WWE now. He was handpicked by Triple H to be like one of his inner circle people, because I guess that Triple H was a fan of TNA all along, because he has surrounded himself with Jeremy Borash, Petey Williams, Abyss, and Bobby Roode, and to a degree Bruce Pritchard. And so he's now doing stuff with AAA. Like, he's basically gone down there to be the point guy down there. He was in WCW. He was doing stuff over in Australia with Worldwide Wrestling Association, I think it was called. TNA. Like, he is a guy that's done the rounds and has picked up so much experience.
Yeah.
Credit to him. I can't give a lot of credit to this match, though.
No. It is the shortest match on the show.
Yeah, Tara dominates. Tess makes a comeback and the crowd are quiet. Tara then hangs onto the ropes while Tess attempts a move. Tess pushes her off the rope, but she misses an elbow drop. Tara hits the Widow's Peak and wins.
Yeah. You know that Rob Van Dam Zema Ion match? It's worse than that in terms of just coming out of nowhere.
What an odd match.
Especially if the whole story going in is Tessmacher has proved herself as a wrestler. This is her mentor. Tara doesn't cheat to win, doesn't take an underhand tactic.
It doesn't like Brooke has learned a lot over the tutelage of Tara, because Tara just dominates and wins. What an odd match.
Well, it's because no one cares about the match, Luke. They want to look at Taryn Terrell in a skimpy referee's outfit and then see Jesse.
Yeah, because Tara then says she did all of this for her Hollywood boyfriend. You've seen him on TMZ. He's more hotter than George Clooney, more hotter than Brad. He is Jesse from Big Brother.
Yeah. She botched Leonardo DiCaprio's name. She said Brad Pitt, the other guy, and then Leonardo whatever his name is.
So they make out in the ring. Crowd chant, "Who are you?" And Tenay says, "I want to go to something important." So they are establishing you're not supposed to know who he is. Like this isn't that TNA don't think he's a big star. This isn't like, they're misunderstanding pop culture. They have brought him in as a nobody, and that is the joke, that he is a nobody.
Yeah. I don't think it just because TNA also do this a lot, it just makes it look like TNA is bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, but we know this one. Don't pay attention to King Mo.
Wink, wink, guys. Yeah, we know this guy. He's a nobody, right, guys?
So I read Jesse's Wikipedia page, which is the pinnacle of all research. He said that after his time on Big Brother, so he was in Big Brother 8 or whatever in the States, he met Ric Flair at a gym in Venice, California, and asked him how to get into the wrestling business. This is a quote now from Jesse. "This was at the peak of The Miz feuding with John Cena during the WrestleMania, and I saw that and knew if he could do it, why not me?"
He's talking about Cena. I mean, if this guy can main event WrestleMania, I think I probably could.
Yeah. So then it didn't really go on to do anything afterwards.
No.
But yeah, this is Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse Goddard, I think his name.
Jesse Goddard. It's weird that Tara announces him as my boyfriend. You'll know him, Jesse. I don't think she even says from Big Brother. She just goes Jess, like it's Madonna.
Yeah,
it's one word.
It's Taz coming in being like, he's from Big Brother. He's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch that storyline unfold.
Yeah, and who knows where it will go as we chart. Maybe this will become the Voodoo Kin Mafia.
A real storyline.
Dave Meltzer wrote here, "It was really tough putting the women on this late. The crowd gave them little reaction. 1 star.
Yeah, I think that is a fair rating.
And Vinny V also gave it 1 star.
1 star.
It's time for the TNA Hall of Fame. This was held the night before. The WWE Hall of Fame, this is not.
Yeah, it looks a lot more function hall.
Yeah.
Like this is a hotel they've booked out, the function room in a hotel off a motorway nearish a medium-sized city.
Hulk Hogan is in a t-shirt. Like everyone else is, like fairly dressed up. Hogan's there with his bandana, sunglasses, and a TNA t-shirt.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like... I mean, Dave Meltzer says, like, you can't compare them to the Hall of Fame, and it would be the WWE Hall of Fame, and it would be unfair to do so. But also, it looks... You know that bit in Alan Partridge when he has to go to the Fireplace Awards? Like, that's what a lot of this looks like.
Well, if I skipped it,
You've completely skipped it.
It's such a short bit. No, this is all just the video package for Aces and Eights.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay.
And they're filming it like a backstage segment, because that looks good, doesn't it?
That looks all right.
The what community?
The Hall of Fame community.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the main person.
There's your main character.
There's Hulk
Yep.
with some children.
Yeah.
Have we got any wide shots of the...
Well, there's some food right there. So
there's Brooke.
There's Brooke and Tara. If you scroll back a bit, you can get a little glimpse of food.
Oh.
I think that's desserts right there. So that's 3 layers. But if you can see this one right at the front here, those layers aren't neat.
And it's been served to them during the speech.
Yeah.
So it's only Sting that's getting inducted.
Yes, they need to do one. They've not been going that long, so you need to do 1 induction per year. Who else are you going to put in? The Johnsons?
What's the rest of the night? Everyone's come there,
Drinks.
as they should, to celebrate Sting.
Yeah. Cocaine.
Oh, there's Christopher Daniels.
Checking his watch.
He's eating. Can we make out anyone else?
Should I eat this?
Who are most of the people here?
They're all like out of focus. That looks like Matt Jackson at the front there.
Yeah, Generation Me.
Is that one of Sting's kids?
I think these are just all stock footage shots of other people.
You might as well
give me some more Hogan. Oh, there's Hogan and Dixie.
He's in the Bound for Glory t-shirt, which means that is Dixie's kid, I'm going to presume.
Are these fans?
Oh, they have got some lanyards on them. Maybe this is part of the VIP package. You get to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Anyway, what's most important is Lex Luger does a speech. Really touching because they're, best friends, him and Sting. Hulk Hogan does a speech. Complicated fellow, but they're on friendly terms right now. He's a huge star, what an honor. But then the person who actually inducts him is the main star of this show, Dixie Carter.
Yeah, and she gives a long speech about how she loves Sting, and without Sting, TNA might not be in the position it's in today. He would only ever sign 1-year contracts, and every year he would say, "This is my last year," and then Dixie would get him to sign on for another year.
When Sting does his speech, he says, "Yeah, she's a persuasive woman. She gets what she wants." It did feel a bit like he was trapped.
Yeah, a little bit. So Dave Meltzer wrote up about the Hall of Fame. They held their first Hall of Fame ceremony the day before Bound for Glory in Phoenix to honor Sting. This was nothing like a WWE Hall of Fame, and it would be unfair to make the comparison, even though people obviously will. I was told by people there that the ceremony far exceeded their expectations, and that Lex Luger tore down the house with an emotional speech about what Sting meant to him. Jeremy Borash and Mike Tenay both spoke for a few minutes. Tenay talked about Sting in WCW and TNA, noting the Clash of Champions match with Flair in 1988 that put him on the map, that Sting was often called the franchise of WCW, and how Sting and Flair wrestled the final WCW match ever in 2001. AJ Styles was next, followed by Luger. Luger is physically in rough shape. There was a stage everyone spoke from, but Luger was unable to climb the stairs, so instead spoke from near the head table and he was sitting at. Hulk Hogan spoke next, and apparently made an under-his-breath reference to Luger about having to follow him. Because Luger gave such a good speech. And Hogan was like, "Gotta follow that now, brother." There were people in tears when Luger was done. Dixie's speech was last. Sting gave a speech, and you could really see how Sting knew nothing about wrestling whatsoever before Rick Bassman saw him in Gold's Gym and recruited him and tried to talk him into being a pro wrestler. Among the things he said were that growing up in Los Angeles, there was no wrestling on television. That's not quite as bad as someone saying in Memphis saying something like that, but still, wrestling was regularly on primetime television throughout Sting's youth. He also noted, and this clip aired on Spike, that Hogan came into the gym he co-owned at one point, and all kinds of people were buzzing that Hulk Hogan was there, and Sting had never even heard of Hulk Hogan at the time, and this was circa 1985. At one point,
Rocky movies have come out by this point.
WrestleMania has been at this point.
But even if you weren't paying attention to wrestling, Rocky 3
it's Rocky 3
broken through.
But I think it's rock and wrestling, the MTV crossover. But anyway, he had a cartoon. At one point, Christian was scheduled to attend this, but between the lawsuit and Christian making it clear the last time he was there, he didn't want to be there, that fell through. TNA tried to get Ric Flair to attend, but relations between TNA and Flair aren't strong given the nature of him quitting and the lawsuit that is keeping him from going to WWE. Sting went out of his way to mention Flair because Flair was so important to his career.
Yeah, he does have that odd moment where he's like, I feel like I should acknowledge Ric Flair. Feels like he's not supposed to say his name.
No. So this is obviously, we've talked about this, the ongoing lawsuit between WWE and TNA saying it's unfair that WWE keep poaching a lot of their talent. So WWE aren't touching anyone associated with TNA for fear that that would impact the lawsuit. It's a lot like the MLW lawsuit, and WWE then had that sort of hiring freeze for a little bit where they're like, we're not going to sign anyone until this MLW thing is cleared up.
And the ROH one.
Yeah. The contract
every 3 years, WWE try it again and they get told, no, that's illegal.
Well, they've figured it out now. They're partnering with promotions or acquiring promotions.
And that's what stopped them signing Devon as a big singles star.
Up next, it's the reason why we're here, as Sting and Bully Ray team to take on Aces and Eights. We kind of talked about the story as we've got to at this point. Acid and Eight drag out Joseph Park and handcuff him to the guardrail. And Sting and Bully Ray watch this from the ring. And only until Abyss is handcuffed do they go out to get them.
But so do everyone else. All the security, all the officials, the announcers, the other wrestlers backstage. No one thinks to help Joseph Parks.
No. Well, they know he's strong enough to break out of those chains.
But Joseph Parks, his performance here again, for such a big, hulking man, he's sweaty, he's shaking, he's got like just the outfit he's wearing, that ill-fitting suit. He's an incredible performer. And we spoke a bit to James Storm about him, because we were saying like, oh, in Unreal, like you see Chris Parks.
Did I do a good job, Bruce?
He's really nervous.
Is Bruce mad at me?
And Storm was like, that's who he is. Like, he's really sensitive. And I asked a few other people who've worked with him, and they said the same thing. And, he's always actually quite unconfident in a way, where he is everything you see in that moment on Unreal, where the guy's scared he's going to lose his job for that one little error.
They're going to the finish now. Great finish. It's going to be a great finish, everyone.
He's a very anxious guy. And I think he can channel that part of him into this performance of Joseph Parks.
Yeah, it's really, really great. And also, Bully Ray is tagging with Sting. So, yep, you guessed it. He's got Sting face paint on.
Yeah, that's a good reveal, though.
But not Joker face paint, though.
No.
So it's Surfer Sting. They brawl around the ring. Crowd want tables. Bully goes to get them, but one of the lads throws him into the steps. Sting misses Sting. This is a mouthful for you. Sting misses a Stinger splash, and he lands into the guardrail, which looks like it sucked. And then it breaks down into a tag match. Scorpion, but the other lad breaks it up. Scorpion death drop, Bully hot tag. Ray gets a chair, but another member of the group runs in and stops him. And this is when Chris Park breaks free of their handcuffs and takes him out, and they run to the back. Doomsday,
which is a really good moment. I'm surprised they didn't milk that more.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. This guy runs in, starts interfering in the match. He spits at Abyss, or Chris Parks, don't want to ruin the illusion. Oh, did you not get that sneeze?
I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And usually,
I went early.
you would have a few bits throughout the match where, like, one of Aces and Eights has Sting right up at Parks' face. You can't do anything, and Parks is cowering and scared. Then maybe the next time they've got Bully Ray, they're punching him, and Parks is firing up a bit, but he can't get the handcuff off. Then you do this bit. The guy spits at him, and Parks goes, smashes. But it's just right away.
I actually forgot he was at ringside.
Yeah.
Because he's not focused on, or even not even focused on, mentioned or shown at ringside. And so, like, apart from the start, and then when he breaks free. And I was like, oh yeah, he is at ringside.
It's a great moment, but that they really could have built it up to make it even better.
There's a bit that Dave says. Dave says the crowd aren't into this match a lot, but I thought the crowd were pretty hot for this.
Yeah, it's a TNA crowd. And there's loads of interference and brawling and spots. So, yeah. And they get to shout, get the tables.
Exactly. Like, they do the Doomsday device. Crowd, like, they're on their feet for this. Sting yells at Ray to get the tables. Another member of the group comes in, and he puts Ray through the table. Aces and Eights win. They now have access to the Impact Zone.
Yeah, there's 5 members in the ring and 1 that has been chased away by Parks up the ramp. And this is where Hogan makes the walk in save. It's a walk-in save.
Let's have a little watch of Hulk Hogan coming out to make the save here, brother. Also, I mean, I'm gonna show you this bit here because watch Earl Hebner really try to get this table out of the ring.
God, I can't believe this happened.
Earl Hebner's like, right, this table's in the middle of the ring. Better clear this up because we've got to do an angle.
Oh no! It's dragging somewhere on the canvas.
It's caught somewhere. It's there.
Guys, can you help me?
It's caught there. Yep. Oh, that's just really in difficult pieces, isn't it? Can I get this under the rope? How's this going to work? That way. I'll try that way.
That's never gonna work, Hebner.
Look, he's still trying. What if I do? How do I do this? Anyway, here comes Hogan, everyone. Let's focus on him.
I guess
one at a time, lads.
Hey.
And again.
Block. Punch.
They're going one by one.
announcer is pissed off. And I don't blame him. Somehow he's
I can get
It's
there.
pretty slow.
I can get there, everyone. You. Just wait for it. Wait till I get in before you come and hit me.
advantage. Taking advantage.
It's proper watching Tanahashi at Forbidden Door vibes.
Yeah. And we ate it up.
We did.
If we were there, we would be
I would
loving
have
this.
been on. I'd have been going nuts. You.
Who's your favourite wrestler? Yeah, it's not the most dynamic offense. I'm surprised he got his leg up that high for the big boot.
And then he calls for the leg drop.
No, not doing that with these hips.
And then, because I almost feel like he went into autopilot mode there and being like, leg drop. Then the crowd go, what? He's like, oh no, mask. Mask off. We're going to take the mask off. And they do. And they reveal the mask, and it's a Devon Dudley.
Yeah. And they are also... I thought Bully Ray's facials, his selling was excellent. He's just like, there's a camera right up in his face as Devon runs away, and he just goes, why? And that was really good.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and Sting, I believe, less.
Yeah. As well, I don't know. Let's have a look at Hogan's acting ability here.
I just don't think it's that shocking. Bully makes sense because that's his brother.
Yeah.
But someone should hit him by now.
Yeah.
And maybe Bully Ray should even try and stop him. What do you say?
Why did you say that? What does that mean?
What does that mean? Yep, get
He
out of the
slowly
ring.
gets out of the ring.
Come on, boys. So he was the leader?
Well, that's it. When he keeps saying it was always me, he's not the leader of the group. He's the sergeant in arms, I believe, is the official title he's given.
Which is quite confusing because it does feel like they've just revealed the leader.
I wonder if they were revealing him as the leader, and then at some point they're like, but it can't be Devon Dudley as the leader, though, so maybe it should be... There's a Howard Power that we can reveal instead.
But don't you think they thought Bully would be the leader eventually, or Eric Bischoff would be the leader eventually?
Well, I mean...
Surely it's Bischoff that they thought.
I'm pretty sure it's him in that backstage segment that we watched.
Yeah.
I would have thought that they would go with Bischoff as the leader.
He loves motorbikes.
Sure does.
It's a big Bischoff thing, and they can do the feud of Bischoff versus Hogan.
Which worked so well in the dying days of WCW. Dave Meltzer said the crowd wasn't into this match, which I disagree with. He gave it 1 3/4.
Oh. I mean, it's not a great in-ring match, but the star power of Sting, Bully Ray, the intrigue of Aces and Eights, that excellent Joseph Park spot.
Hogan doing his trademark stuff.
Technically after the match.
I guess so. Well, yeah, maybe.
I think 1 3/4 is harsh.
Vinny V would say, a table got set up in the ring and another Ace and Eights person appeared and put Ray through it with a spine buster. Ace and Eights covered Ray for the win. That all seemed rushed and they didn't really let it sink in what had happened. A whole gang appeared. Hogan came limping down the aisle. They attacked him one by one and each man getting punch blocked, eating a punch and then falling down. It was like a wrestling skit on a bad sketch comedy show. They tore his mask off, but they did it with his back to the hard camera. Way to go, TNA. So anyway, it was Devon. Baby faces were all so shocked, they just stood there. Bully looked heartbroken. Didn't you break up with him? Ace and Eights leave as the baby faces stared at each other slack-jawed. A "this is awkward" chant broke out.
Didn't hear that.
2 1/4 stars.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
That's a good point about the general pacing, and that's a TNA problem dating back years.
Yeah.
They don't let anything breathe. They just go to the next thing.
Well, that's often because Vince Russo booked 2-hour shows.
Yeah.
They're 1 hour of TV time. I mean, we do actually have a TNA to the back moment here, because you have this moment, and all of a sudden, here's Jeremy Borash. He's interviewing Austin Aries.
Yeah, there's no sort of fallout of, oh my God, the Aces and Eights, they can attack us whenever they want. They've got free reign of the building. No.
Yeah. To the back, Borash is with Austin Aries, who talks about how this is part of Jeff's redemption, but really it's just another chapter in the rise of the greatest man who ever lived, Austin Aries.
Yeah, Austin Aries is fantastic. I know not now, but this time I was such a big Aries mark.
Massive. I was huge into Aries. Like I was when he came in the mid-2000s. Like I really liked the way that he looked. He had a real mid-2000s look about him, but I just thought I loved the way he moved. I loved the pendulum elbow drop that he did. I was really, really into Austin Aries.
Paparazzi.
The paparazzi production stuff as Austin Starr. From what I can... I've never met the man, right? Like I've listened to his Talk Is Jericho interview, but I've never met the man. But from what I've gathered, from talking to people who have met him, was like, he's a great wrestler. I wish he was a different person. Because he's just not, he's very difficult to get on with.
Yeah. I feel like that's the catchphrase of this series so far. Luke's not met them. But
I've spoken to a lot of people who have.
I don't really know anything about the guy personally, apart from what people have said. Oh, didn't he have a lot of COVID thoughts in 2021? But even before then, 2018, that was the last time I could track him as being working for a major promotion, if you don't count MLW in 2022 as a major promotion. But yeah, he has all those belts. He loses the TNA championship to John Morrison, no sells it, walks out. Before then, though, like, what a run. He's world champion in TNA here.
Belt collector gimmick he was doing was great.
Even in WWE, in the cruiserweight division, he really got over and became the focal point of that thing. And then he was just released. He is obviously so difficult to work with that people are like, no, we can make it work. They push him to the very top. And even then, they're like, nope, this is a headache. Yeah, we got to get rid of him.
We can spend our time better.
But just in terms of
being a good wrestler, sometimes is not enough.
He's not just a good wrestler, like he's a fantastic wrestler. And we were talking about charisma earlier. He's got that as well. Like he's not the tallest guy in the world. That's the only thing you could mark against him, and I think in the sort of wrestling mindset. But when he cuts his promo before the match, his promo work leading up to this, that his swagger in the ring, there is something quite CM Punk about him.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that leads us into our main event for the TNA World Championship, as the champion Austin Aries defends against the winner of the Bound for Glory series, Jeff Nero Hardy.
Yes, brother Nero. And Luke, this is Jeff Hardy's entrance.
Yeah.
They've cut off the text on the Tron. Jeffrey Nero Hardy. I think that's meant to say abstraction.
That abstraction would make sense. That sounds like a Hardy word to use.
And they haven't lined it up properly. I don't know. It's not a projector. This feels like it's a play media through a screen thing.
I've never read you Hardy's poetry. Well, he doesn't do. He actually doesn't do poetry. He does emoetry. Telephone.
Where does he write this?
He would used to post them online. He had a page that was just Jeff Hardy's poems.
Is that what it? JeffHardysPoems.com. If I wanted to go to that,
as if they remember, Empty Tank. Where's Jeff Hardy's poems? Poems written by Jeff Hardy. This is on an Angel Fire website.
Oh, nice. Oh, how far back is this then?
Oh, this was like way back in the day that he used to post these. But obviously he's got a band as well. His band is called Parox Y Gen.
Is that one of Elon Musk's kids?
It's apparently he was in the shower once and he saw he was like reading in ingredients to like hair dye. And he just mixed some of the words together to create Parox Y Gen.
That's creative. That's how we all do it.
Man, why can't I find the telephone one? I actually had it. I read it out when we did a taping of Brainbusters recently.
Did you?
I did, yeah. Well, we were talking about Jeff Hardy. So I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, great. I've got it here.
Right.
The Amazing Telephone by Jeff Hardy.
Is it a children's book?
No, it's a poem.
Okay.
And a poem. So many people are talking on telephones across the world. So many people don't even think about the amazing telephone. You are so far away, but I can hear you just fine. There is no face-to-face, but I can see you in my mind. Your voice is traveling beyond the word of speed. My voice is reacting at the perfect time you need. The phone is so amazing, I look at it and stare. I wonder how you hear me, I wonder why I care. So many people are talking from Europe to Japan. So many conversations between the US and Iran. So many people are talking while they're all alone. So many people are using the amazing telephone.
Beautiful. So he's a stoner. That is stoner chat.
Do you want another one?
Yes.
A Lot in Common by Jeff Hardy. You're beautiful, but strange. So am I. You're smart, but still slow. But so am I. You're impatient, but fast. So am I. You're tired, but still last. So do I. You're hot, but still cold. So am I. You're established, but not old. So am I. You're waiting, but happy. So am I. You're leaving, but staying. So am I. You're amazing, but weird. So am I. You're yourself, but still feared. So am I. We both want to be a forever seen star. I have to say, a lot in common is what we are.
You know, when you hear something so many times, it just doesn't sound right. So do I became a word of itself.
Yeah, it's the emoetry of Jeff Hardy there. Anyway, he's here to fight for the TNA World Championship.
Well, the thing is, when people are successful, in other things, they think they can just make poems or books or stories or something. It's just
yeah. So the story is that this is Aries shutting down the aerial game of Jeff Hardy.
a great story. Good match psychology.
And as we talked about earlier, the crowd are into both guys. However, as this match goes on, do they turn on Jeff Hardy here?
I feel like it's almost from the start. You get there's quite a few Jeff face-painted fans in the front row. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Like, you don't see any... I thought one was Darby Allin for a while. My mind kept on misjudging where we were. I was like, a Darby fan. But yeah, I think from the start, there's boos on Jeff and there's a lot more cheers on Austin.
Yeah, it really is. It does feel thunderous in the building. This does feel like it is the main event of the show. Jeff gets a little separation by hitting the alley-oop. Jeff misses a dive on the outside, and Aries does this wicked dive. Then follows it up with a second one and cracks his face right into the guardrail.
Yeah, he was going to make the referee count him out for a bit there, but it was just to sucker Jeff in. It's just... Yeah, he's not just an amazing wrestler in the moves he does. It's the way he paces it out. And just he really does get every single bit from the move.
Aries busts himself open. He locks in the last chancery. Aries does a neck breaker through the ropes, and Jeff absolutely cracks his head because of the way that ramp is on the ring. It's not in line with the ring. It's actually slightly above where the ring is. So when Jeff goes through, he actually goes in between where the ramp and the ring are.
It makes me think of it's Mr. Perfect, isn't it? Or is it Robert Roode who got the back injury from the platform where they took the powerbomb? Am I actually merging 5 different stories there?
I feel like you are. I was wondering if you're talking about the Bulldog. When the Bulldog takes power slam onto the escape hatch that the Warrior was supposed to come into, and that really messed his back up. Yeah. Which unfortunately led to pretty much the downfall of the Bulldog. Aries kicks out of the Twist of Fate. Some of the crowd start to boo Jeff Hardy as he climbs. Super Hurricane Rana by Aries. Brainbuster, Hardy kicks out. Hardy hits another Twist of Fate, hits the Swanton, and he gets the win. He is the new world champion.
Yeah, and it's you went through that quite quickly, but that is a 23-minute match, longest match on the show. And it was really well paced, I thought.
Me too.
It felt like a world heavyweight title match, main event, where they're not going from move. It's more about that psychology-based Aries working, grinding down Jeff making the comeback, but then right back to the grind. I thought this was a really good match with a very interesting crowd.
I did too, Mel. My note I've written here, really good match. I thought I really enjoyed it. Is it as good as the street fight?
No.
It's not. So I think there is a very good argument made that should have been the world title picture, but I also completely get the business argument of it should be Jeff. If you're in TNA's like back office, with Dixie Carter, the numbers don't lie, and they tell you that it should be Jeff. Because he's merchandise, he's house shows, he's that and the other. You're like, yeah, he should be the world champion. But the crowd are sort of also telling you differently. But then again, you can always make it's the Impact crowd. It's always the same people there. Dave Meltzer would say there were no wrestlers who came out for a post-match celebration, confetti falling from the sky, or anything to make the title change feel like a big deal. However, an excellent main event, 4 stars. And Vinny V would say, I was not into this for a long time, but it got really good and peaked at the finish, 3.25 stars.
3.25. God, Vinny V is not impressed with TNA, is he?
Well,
it's weird also that for a great main event, 4 stars.
Yeah.
If you said that these days, a great main event, 4 stars, but that's a disappointing show.
Yeah. Also, like TNA as well used to be like the home of those sort of 5-star, 4.5-star matches as well, when it was the AJs and the Joes and the Angles and things like that. So yeah, it's a different era of TNA at this point. But there you go. That's Bound for Glory 2012, the first chapter on our Aces and Eights storyline, as voted for by the Patreons as well. I really thought Immortal would do better, but it did not.
Main Event Mafia next year. Trust me.
There was a really good argument, actually, as to why the Main Event Mafia didn't do as well. It's because OSW have just finished doing the Main Event Mafia. So someone even said, like, if it comes up next year, I'm going to vote for it then. Because it'll have been a year by that point. But yeah, what did you make of Bound for Glory 2012?
I really enjoyed the show, actually. I thought the tag match was... I enjoyed the tag match much more than you. So that means you've got the last man standing match, the tag match, the main event, and the craziness of the Aces and Aces tag.
Yeah.
So that's 3 good wrestling matches and the TNA zaniness that we all know and love.
Yeah.
Because right now, apart from the women's division, which is just sort of regressing into Divas territory, and the zaniness of whatever Aces and Eights are doing, this is pretty standard wrestling.
Well, maybe that's why I'm not into this. And when I mean I'm not into this, I mean I'm not into this era of TNA. Where's my TNA?
Well, they're always weirdly TNA in its DNA.
Yeah.
They're cutting off the Trons. There's the weird lady doing the guest. The King Mo's here for no reason.
Yeah.
But Jeff Hardy's winning. A year after, he had to...
But you know what you don't have? You don't have Jeff Jarrett backstage being like, you know what I think we need? And just throwing out a mad idea. Where's the mad Stips in this? Where's my Vince Russo electrified steel cage?
Yeah, there's no mad Stips, you're right.
Yeah.
But King Mo's there.
But King Mo was there. So that's more... Maybe this is... I've always seen it as the Hogan Bischoff era is what kind of killed me in TNA. And that is what turned me off on TNA. It was like them and a combination with them and Russo just doing this dreadful, dreadful writing. But maybe what really is going to push me away is when Dixie Carter starts to me like, maybe this should be more about me.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start giving... Now we don't have Jeff Jarrett. Maybe I should be the person to give some ideas.
And you can feel it. Like in this show, you can feel the focus Dixie is getting.
Yeah.
Because she was never a part of, obviously she was the bankroller and the founder and whatever in the noughties.
They would show it on camera maybe once or twice a year.
But the thought of Dixie Carter having a voiceover video package.
In only one of the video packages as well.
Obscene.
In a view she has nothing to do with.
And that is why whenever Tony Khan rears his head in AEW, we get scared.
We get a little bit. And actually, we had it when they first started because it was like the Bucks and Kenny and stuff. I was like, whoa, I've lived through Jeff Jarrett and TNA. Like, I know what happens when you've got the people in charge also being the wrestlers on screen, which is why I think the Cody in particular was like, I'm never going to go for the world title ever again, to remove the Jeff Jarrettness away from it.
But at least they're wrestlers, they're performers. Tony Khan is not a performer, bless him. Mm-hmm. Dixie Carter is definitely not a performer. She's not charismatic in an on-screen way.
No.
She's charismatic in a money way, it sounds.
Well, let's see, because I don't know if she actually does come up again in our timeline as we chronicle what's going on next. So just to give you an idea of what episodes we have got coming up so you can all get used to it or go and watch the episodes in preparation. Right now, over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, you can watch our review of Final Resolution 2012, which features Team TNA versus Aces and Eights in an 8-man tag. Then next month's episode will be Lockdown 2013. which also has Team TNA versus Aces and Eights in Lethal Lockdown. And you've got the Bully Ray Jeff Hardy main event, where you may or may not find out who the true leader of Aces and Eights is. And then in November, Hardcore Justice, as Bully Ray will defend the AEW TNA Championship against Chris Sabin, and the main event Mafia reunite to take on Aces and Eights.
See, we should have done main event Mafia first, and then the Aces and Eights whole series could be a coda to the main event Mafia.
And then our last 2 episodes in December will be...
Wait, Scott Steiner's back.
Well, we'll go through the lineup when we get to it. And then in December, on our last episodes of this, we'll have Bound for Glory 2013, which is Bully Ray versus AJ Styles for the TNA World Championship. And the last episode will be Turning Point 2013, because we will be going through a shift as Impact Wrestling stop doing monthly pay-per-views and start doing special episodes of Impact. We'll actually be reviewing an episode of Impact, because this is where the storyline ends, and it is Turning Point 2013, which is Ken Anderson versus Bully Ray, where if Bully Ray loses, Aces and Eights must disband. And that will be our last episode of this series. There's a bunch of other stuff that there's only like 3 or 4 shows that we're not doing in here. Like, we're not doing Turning Point 2012, which has got Doc Gallows versus Joseph Park, or Genesis 2013, which has got Ken Anderson versus Samoa Joe.
But we will probably touch on that stuff because we'll be going through the timeline.
Exactly. What we will be doing, though, in terms of big coverage, will be on January 17th. We'll be covering the January 17th episode of Impact, because that is The Wedding.
Huge.
And I think we when we get to the October episode, we'll have to talk about The Wedding.
I think that's the one everyone wants.
Yeah. We'll cover the wedding angle. Not the whole episode of Impact, but we certainly will do the wedding angle.
The next episode after this, which you can watch at patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now, has Taz, right? Is that the Taz reveal?
No, that's not. That's not one.
The next show.
We'll talk about that on the lockdown episode, because the Taz reveals are in January, so we'll do that one then. No, the next episode is more about the relationship between Bully Ray and Brooke, which is actually setting up the wedding angle.
Excellent.
And that moment when Bully Ray's going to hug Brooke and then look down the camera to let you know, I'm turning heel at some point. Great stuff. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now, where you can watch our review of Final Resolution 2013. And I've watched pretty much all of it now because I'm on holiday next week, so I need to watch a lot of it now, so I'm prepped when I get back. And I'm also really enjoying that show as well. So maybe this will be a TNA run where we're just going to enjoy ourselves.
I don't like it.
What a weird time. We need to go back and watch more 2005 TNA. That's where we need to be. Thank you so much for watching. Jam that jam, everyone.